I'm tired. I have a headache. I have a migraine. I'm so sick of drama. Ah! No! Yo! Fears has got a headache. Guess who gave me that headache? Yo guys, what's going on? It's Fears, back at it again with another live, a very late, early live. And I had to go live. I had to go live. Some accusations were said about me. And I thought, you know what? I might as well. I've been home for about 35 minutes. And I talked to Dave a little bit before he left home. And then I was on the phone with Dave. And then I had a little chat with Zach before I got out of Dave's car. And I said, Dave, I'm either going to go live tonight, because I don't think Zach is going to come clean about the accusations. I don't think he will. I gave him an opportunity. I said, Zach, either come clean and tell everyone that this is your fault, and it has nothing to do with me or Tina or Dave. Tina's upset. I'm upset. Dave's upset by Zach's actions. And I said, either come clean later on today at Saturday and admit Fears had nothing to do with getting his RV taken away, or I'm going to out you. And I said, I may just out him anyway, because he was drunk all night. I know what happened, so I'm going to tell you guys the truth of exactly verbatim what happened. Because I don't want people to think that I'm a bad guy, because I'm not. And I didn't go and help Zach because I didn't want the community to think I'm a hero. It has nothing to do with being a hero. I went to help out a friend because I actually care about Zach, and I didn't want him to die if he drank and drove, because he could have died or killed somebody else, you know, if he would have hit somebody or that stuff. So I decided I'll help. I have no problem helping out a friend. And then I thought, well, I'll go live, and I might as well make a live out of it. I'm like, I'll tell everybody exactly verbatim what happened, because I know verbatim what happened because I wasn't drunk. And then I'll do some other topics. So I don't know if many people will watch, but many people will watch later. And I'm like, I'm not going to get mad, you know. I'm a little frustrated because after I helped him, Zach has the nerve to throw me under the bus after me and Tina and Dave helped him. And it seems like he has no problem throwing his friends, you know, under the bus. And even after he said, hey, Fears, Dave, Tina, thanks so much for helping me out. So I'm going to call Lampy real quick. So we're going to discuss the serious things. We're going to do some D-Man reviews. We're going to talk about Jeff's Con on Sunday. And then if there's time, I'm going to do that August quiz. But the main thing I want to talk about is that. And let me get through the entire thing, and then I'll open up the chat. I'm going to call Lantern and tell him that I'm live. So I'll open up the chat real quick and say hello. And I'm going to do this as quickly as I possibly can. I'm going to be as polite as I can. But I had nothing to do with it. You know? And I don't want people to get the wrong idea. I would have done that for any friend. You know, go out and help them. I was the designated driver a lot in college. And then my other friends were the designated driver because I would get drunk a lot. I've told you guys the drunk stories of me in college. So it has nothing to do with being a hero. I don't want Zach killing somebody, and I don't want Zach getting killed. So I said, I'll help out. I had no idea Dave and Tina were going to come as well. I was halfway there, and Dave called me and said, yo, Fears, we're going to get there before you because Dave lives closer to that club. I even said, oh, Dave, you don't have to. You don't have to. I'm like, I'll take care of it. I'll go down there, and I'll make sure Zach will get home all that. It was always my intention to take Zach back to his house because he's not homeless. Why would I have to have him stay at my house? It's different. He was actually homeless when I had him stay at my house the first time because he finally dumped Liz and said, the hell with you guys, the hell with these stupid people. I'm out of here. And then he said, hey, Dave, can you pick me up? Boom. I said, no problem, Zach. Bam. And I'm going to get into all that so you guys have some background. Because some people are like, well, Fears, you kept flip-flopping. There's a reason why I kept flip-flopping, but eventually I let him stay. There's a reason. So have an open eye, have an open ear. Don't just shut Fears out and say, no, actually hear Fears out. Let me call Lantern real quick. Because I don't want people thinking that I'm a bad guy. I'm not. I legit wanted to help out a friend tonight. What's up, twin? What's up, twin? Oh, it's Banjo. Banjo, this is serious. I need to talk to Lantern pronto. Yo, Lantern, did you have a good show? I was on there. I was on there a little bit. Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Lantern, guess what? I'm going live. I'm already live, Lantern.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk about some serious stuff, Lantern.
I'm
going to talk about some serious stuff. I'm not going to get mad. I'm just going to tell the truth. And then I'm going to do some topics. But hey, Lantern, guess what?
What?
Oh, shit. Not again, Fears.
I'm not again.
I'm going live again, Lantern.
Not again.
That's right.
Yeah.
But Lantern, I'm glad that you had a good night. So when do you get your stream stuff back, Lantern?
Right. I don't know, but they take you out now.
The what now?
Hey, after.
Yeah, what, in about a week?
Yeah, about a week or so.
Oh, man. Because then you got that dual thing with Zach. You can streak and stream whatever you want. And then if you run out, then you can always sign in on Zach. Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, in a week, will that second strike go away, or will it stay on there for a while? Will it stay on there for a while, Lampy?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, I hope it goes away soon. All right, Lantern, spread the links, and I'll see you in the chat, all right? All right, Junk! All right. Excuse me. Oh, damn. This fucking cough. Anyway, I still haven't had anything to eat because I had to leave and go. So, I was kind of upset about that, because I'm hungry. But anyway, I'll get into everything. It'll all make sense. Because, again, I know verbatim what happened. Zach's a little fuzzy because he was drunk off his fucking ass. So I'm going to open up the chat. I'll say hello. Even Yakov was, against this whole... the whole challenge thing has gotten blown out of proportion. It never would have happened if none of this challenge bullshit would have happened. But Zach made a lot of mistakes tonight. I guess I could have let him stay. I guess that's the only mistake I made, but there's a reason why. And really, I don't have any obligation to have him stay at my house because he's living with his folks. He's not homeless. So just have an open eye and an open ear and be open to what I'm saying, because I'm saying I'm not doing this to hurt Zach. I'm just sick and tired of him throwing his family under the bus and throwing me under the bus. And he lied to his parents. And he lied to me, and I'm just like, I don't know what I've done. Zach has never hurt Dave in the way he's hurt me. He's never recorded Dave without his permission. He's never tried to stream my stream. He's never called Dave a woman abuser, but he's done that to me. And I don't know why I got all this. Now he's trying to throw me under the bus saying, Fears, you're the one that made me lose my RV. You didn't lose your RV because of me, Zach. It's not even your RV, Zach. Your parents bought it, for being open and honest. And again, I'm in the same boat as Zach. I've been there before. When you live under your folks' house, you have to live by their rules. Like when they took away my laptop, my dad said, you'll never get your laptop. I'm taking your laptop away for a year. I got it back the very next day. I guarantee you, once his parents cool down, he'll probably get that RV back because they've invested in so much money. Anyway, so let me start from the very beginning. Let me open up the chat. I'll say hello to everybody, and then I'll get into what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to hurt Zach. I'm outing him because I don't want people to get the wrong idea about me. I legit want to help out my friends. I've never done anything to hurt Zach, ever. Ever. But I don't know if he's jealous of me. I don't know if he's jealous of my channel because I've got so much more subs than him, because I've got so much more quote-unquote pull in the community. I don't know what it is, but everyone that I talked to tonight had my back. Even Kate was ashamed of his actions. I called Kate. Kate talked to me. She talked to Tina, Dave, and said Zach made a lot of mistakes. She goes, Fears, you didn't cause any of this. All you did was try to help out a friend. I said, thank you, Kate. I said, I don't want everyone thinking that I made his parents take away his RV, because I didn't. So let me say hello to everybody, and I'm not going to get mad. I'm a little frustrated, and then I'll go through it, because he made a lot of mistakes tonight, and he straight up bold-faced lied. This would have happened either way. His parents already knew about the challenge. He was an idiot and told his parents about it. Even if he didn't tell his parents about the challenge, his mom doesn't trust him, Zach told me. Zach told me tonight that his mom has a tracker on his car. So she would have found out anyway. And she would have been pissed and probably took away the RV anyway, even if I didn't take him home. So I'll get into all of it. Because me and Dave and Tina all said, well, we didn't want to meet Mrs. Arnold like this. She even said it. She goes, well, I'm sorry to meet all you wonderful. She goes, I'm so glad that Zach has wonderful friends. I'm sorry that I had to meet you guys like this. But she went through, she said, oh, John, thank you so much for your help. I said, hey, no worries. I would do this for any friend. I shook her hand. I said, nice to meet you. She gave me a hug. She gave Dave a hug, and she shook Tina's hand and gave her a hug. And so Mrs. Arnold's a very nice lady. I'm not saying anything bad about, I guess Mr. Arnold was extremely mad because he didn't come out. But she was waiting there. I didn't call her. The tracker indicates when Zach's car gets close to the house. So Zach said she would have found out anyway, Fears, even if Zach didn't call. But he did call. So that's why she was waiting outside. So I'll get into it. Let me open up the chat and say hello to everybody. It'll all make sense. Anyway, let me say hello. The tracker indicates when Zach's car gets... All right. So anyway, let me say hello to everybody. Yo! What's up? What's up, Mama Bear? Me too. Sick of the drama. I am too, Tina. Yo! What's up? What's up? What's up, Visions? What's up, Strong Bear 19? All right, so here we go. So I just wanted to make sure I'm exactly. So yeah. So there. What's up, Hedrix? So what's up, Howdy Dankness? What's up? Wait a minute, Lantern. Dankness isn't here. I've seen Dankness. He's not here. All right, now, Lantern. Howdy, Visions. Well, howdy. Howdy. So I'm not doing this to hurt Zach. I'm doing it to clear my name because I'm sick of Zach throwing his family under the bus. I'm sick of him throwing. He needs to get his priorities straight. So let me go down. So I do my live. I do my live. Everything's good. I said, all right, well, I said, I'm going to end her. I said, everybody, I said, I'm sure is excited about the whole Zach thing. I was already tired. I was like, man, because I didn't get much sleep, the night before. And I was like, oh, I'll just sit, watch the Zach live. Everything will be good. I said, I'll maybe go on Lantern's panel later. And then we all know what happened. I ended my live. Lantern didn't start his until very late. I thought he was going to start his and everyone would be watching it side by side. But I guess Lantern and Yak wanted to see Zach. So, I don't know why Zach would do this. Zach told me tonight, well, Fierce, I'm not going to lie to my folks. I said, Zach, your mom would have found out about this to begin with. I said, A, she's got a tracker on your car. So even if you didn't tell your folks that you were doing this challenge, they would have been like, why is Zach at this gay bar? Right? It would have happened nonetheless. It would have happened even if he didn't say it to his folks at all, because I said, Zach, what if me and Tina and Dave didn't show up? You would have been an idiot and drove home drunk. I said you could have killed yourself or killed somebody else. And I said if you would have crashed that car, they would have took away your RV. And he goes, well, yeah, you got a point, John. I said, well, there you go. I'm like, don't blame it on me. So there's that. So all of a sudden, he starts his live. This is exactly out of Mrs. Arnold's mouth and Zach's mouth. Zach said, hey, Fierce, before I went, I told my mom and dad about the challenge. And I've always been about the challenge. I think the challenges were getting, I don't mind the head shaving thing. I knew that this would have gone bad. I was hoping that it would go good. I said, Zach, I have a bad feeling about it. I'm not homophobic. I said, Zach, I said, these trolls, I said, I'm damned if I am, I'm damned if I'm not. I said, Zach, if I would have went with you, I never would have heard the fucking end of, oh, Fierce went to a gay bar. And I said, Zach, I have no reason to go to a gay bar. I don't have any gay friends in Orlando. I said, plus, I'm not going to have punk rock and all these other people force me to do something that I don't want to do. I said, I did the head shaving thing. I'm done. Crackpot set me up. It is. You guys know it. I know it. It had been 10 days, right? All that stuff. So, and then punk rock is like, well, you need to make peace. All that. You guys know all that crap. So, I was the first one tonight to say, hey, Zach, if you need a ride, I'll give you a ride. I messaged Visions. Visions, you can confirm this. Visions wrote it in the chat. And I didn't do it to be a hero. Somebody, I don't know who started that rumor. Someone messaged me saying, oh, I bet you Fears only did it. There's a rumor floating around that you only did it to be a hero. No, I would have done that because I don't want Zach to die. So that's one thing. I don't want Zach to die. You know, he's a friend. I give a damn about him. It doesn't, it doesn't have anything to do with being a hero or not. It's doing the right thing. So he would have got in trouble anyway. So he told me, he said, hey, Fears, I told my parents about it and they don't like it. I said, well, I said, Zach, why would you tell your folks? Well, I'm not going to lie to them. I said, Zach, I said, obviously your folks are not going to like you going to a gay bar. And I said, I think punk rocks take this stuff way too far. I said, the trolls are taking it way too far. I told Zach, if you go there, just get it over with. Just get it over with. I said, you don't have to drink. He chose to drink. He told his parents. Mrs. Arnold told this to me, Dave, and Tina. And Zach said it to his parents. He said, Mom, I'm just going to go there for a little while. I'm not going to stay there very long. I'm not going to drink. And she says, okay, Zach, just get it done. Do whatever you have to do. He goes, did I tell him to get a drink? No. He started, and he lives in a fantasy land if he thinks he's not obsessed with Kate. Kate, should I get a drink? Should I get a drink? Should I get a, oh my fucking hell. You know? So yeah. Now people wonder why I was flip-flopping to have him stay here. I was tired from that con. I said, Zach, I said, yeah, I'll let you stay. And then I thought, oh, I'm so tired from this con. And I'll be honest, I was being selfish. That's why I kept flip-flopping back and forth. And then I flip-flopped, you know, because all that stuff was going around Spooky Empire. I was like, Zach, just find something else. And I thought, oh, if I keep flip-flopping, people are going to think I'm not a good friend. And I'm like, just stay over, Zach. Just stay over. I said, I don't want to hear all these people's fucking grief. So I admit, I didn't want him to come over because I didn't want to deal with all that Bree crap. So I admit it. But in the end, I just said, no, do the right thing, Fears. He's kind of homeless right now, right? Totally different situation. So that's why I was flip-flopping on that. The reason why I'll tell you the reason why I didn't want him to stay tonight. So he's the one that decided to tell his parents that I'm doing this challenge. He's the one, I did not say, Zach, you have to drink this. Zach's the one that got drunk off of his fucking ass. He could have just ordered one or two. And if he would have just had 2 drinks, you can have 2 drinks and still drive. So, but again, he's 40 years old. I don't care that he drank. If you want to drink, drink. And I've got the chat closed so I can get all my statements out. If he wants to drink, let him drink. He's his own person. I don't think he should have drank. Kate doesn't think he should have drank. Dave was against it. Tina's against it. Why would you throw 8 years of sobriety down the drain? But let's say you wanted to. I understand Zach was very nervous. I would be too. I have no reason to go to that. People gave me shit. I have nothing against no culture, no one's race. I have gay friends in Missouri. I went to film school with them. I've known my lesbian friend Kristen since the 8th grade. She was one of the first people that said, "Hey, John, do you think people will make fun of me because I'm gay?" I'm like, no. I'm like, just be open and honest with everybody. I'm like, and if people make fun of you, Kristen, because you're gay, then they're probably not your friends to begin with, you know? So, anyway. So we all know what happens. People were donating. I was reading some of the chat. Some people were donating to have him drive drunk. That's insanity. Now, I will admit, some people, like, Museum was very generous. Museum was donating hundreds of dollars. Adam Machini, all those people were fine. But some people, it got up to like 40 people in that chat. I didn't read every single comment, but some people were like, "Hey, I'm gonna donate $20. You should drive drunk. It'll be great content." That's fucking retarded. You know? I don't remember who it was, but Dave saw it too. That there Tina said that people were donating to him for him to drive drunk. So I messaged Visions and said, "Hey, let everybody know I'm on my way." I had no idea. I'm glad Dave and Tina showed up, but I had no idea that they would. I said, "Hey, I'm out the door." I was about halfway. When Dave called me and said, "Hey, Fears, we're like a minute away." I said, and I even told Dave, I said, "Hey, Dave, don't worry about it." I said, "I volunteer." I said, "Dave, you drove Zach to my house last time." I said, "Let me get this one." I said, "I have no problem taking Zach home." It was always my intention to take him home. He goes, "Well, Fierce, we're here." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "If you're here, then I said, Dave, keep Zach there." I said, "I've been watching the live here and there." I didn't watch all the live. I was jumping in. I had a shower, so I missed some, and then I would come back. I was editing, so I would watch and go, "All right, man, Zach's having fun." I was so proud of him. He was like, he had a big grin. "Yeah, man, I'm getting tons of donations." I'm like, I'm happy for Zach. I'm like, dude, he's having a blast. I'm like, great, awesome. And then I was like, well, even though that girl said no, Zach was like, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" I was like, yeah, see, Zach's having fun. Everyone's cracking jokes. Everything was fine. And then when people started, of course, this community takes everything to the max, right? And then when I saw people like say, "Oh man, I'm gonna donate $30. You totally got to drive drunk." I'm like, that's fucking stupid. That's fucking stupid. So I don't know if Zach saw it, Tina saw it, Dave saw it, I saw it. I'm sure other people saw it. I didn't read every single comment, but I'm telling you, that's 100% the truth. So I'm about halfway there, and I was like, "Well, Dave, it's actually kind of good that you're there." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" I said, "I've been watching the live periodically. He's been threatening many times. I'm fine, I'll drive home drunk." I'm like, "Dave, it's actually good that you're there." I'm like, "Do whatever it takes." I said, "If you have to take away Zach's keys, take away." I'm like, "I don't want him driving drunk." I said, "He'll either hurt himself or kill himself or hurt somebody else or kill somebody else." I said, "Or he won't die or he'll damage his car, and I don't want that. You don't want that, Dave." And he's like, "Oh, yeah." He goes, "He's not driving home, John." I said, "Yeah, he looks annihilated." And I think Dave told me this before I got there. I was supposed to get there at 11:40, but on the way there was an accident. So I got stuck in traffic for about 20 minutes. So I was supposed to get there at 11:40, and there was an accident. And they pulled 2 cars off to the side of the road on I-4. That's the quickest highway to take to where this club is, because it was way downtown. And I live ages away from downtown. So I said, "Hey, Dave, I should get there by 11:40. Then when I got stuck in traffic, I called Dave and said, "Hey, Dave, I'm still on the way. Make sure you don't get him anywhere near his car. Take his keys away." I'm like, "He's not driving home." I'm like, "I saw the live. He looks annihilated." And Dave's like, "Oh, he is, Fears." And I said, "Okay, well, I don't want him driving." So They pulled the stuff off the side of the road, and I said, "Hey, Dave." I called Dave and said, "Hey, Dave, now it says I should get there by 11:58." So I didn't eat. I was tired. I said, "Well, I'm not going to be there for long." I said, "I'll just go grab him, take him home." And I said, "I'm sure Dave will follow behind me because I'm sure Zach doesn't want to leave his car there." That's why we took his car back to his house, because it's in downtown. If you leave it, he was parking, with the meter and all that. If you leave it there, he would have got fined. I didn't want anyone to tow his car because he parked in an illegal area. And I'm like, "Dave, move his car out of the illegal parking space." So it was all fucked up. And I'm like, well, of course he doesn't want to leave it down in a bad part of town in Orlando. Like, we'll just take it back to his house. There's nothing wrong with that. But of course, trolls are, "Oh, Fears did it half-ass." Bull fucking shit. I didn't do anything fucking half-ass. I helped out a friend. So I get there. I didn't know we were going to sit there for another half an hour. I said, "Hey, Dave," I said, "Are you ready?" He was like, "Well," he goes, "it's going to be a minute. Tina has to go to the bathroom. I have to go to the bathroom." And he goes, "Tina has to walk all the way." Zach parked his car ages away, so Tina had to go walk over there. And I said, "All right." And so then I said, "Well, I might as well hear." And I started joking around. I'm like, "Well, guys," I'm like, "I guess I fulfilled the challenge." I'm like, "You guys got me here to the gay bar." I'm like, "Yay, hey, punk rock, I'm off the challenge. Hell yeah. And then a drag queen said, "Oh, you're such a good friend," and pat me on the shoulder like 3 or 4 times. I don't care that she did that. He was actually very nice. She actually came up and said, "Your friend looks annihilated. Do you want me to go in there and get him some water?" I was like, "Oh, that would actually help. Yeah, that would be great." I started talking to the live. I was joking around. I wrote Vision, said, "Vision, I'm trying my best." And he goes, "Oh, you're doing good, Fears. You're doing good. You're doing good." And I said, "Well, that's good." And I said, "I'm just trying to help out a friend." Of course, Larry, said, "Oh, Fears, you're just doing this for the fame." And of course, Larry hates my guts. I hate his guts. So, of course, he was like saying, like, "You don't even have to be there, Fears." And I'm like, "Well, I said, I'm the one that first said I would take Zach home." I said, "I had no idea Tina and Dave were going to show up." I said, "I'm glad, though, so they can help get his car back." So I think it took about a half an hour to get him out of there. He was so annihilated. Before we left, he's like, "Hey, Fears, before we get to your car, like, can I go to the bathroom?" And I was like, "Do you need help?" I said, "I'll go with you." They would not let Zach back in the club because I guess he was just way too drunk. And I said, "Hey, Dave, did he cause a disturbance?" He goes, "No." He goes, "He didn't cause a disturbance. Just they're sick and tired of Zach being drunk. They just don't want to deal with Zach anymore." And I went, "Okay." And I looked at the, I don't know what you call him, the bouncer guy out front, the guy that was scanning everybody with a metal detector. I said, "Hey," I said, "I'm sober." I said, I don't mind walking with him to the bar." And then the other guy looked at the other guy and said, "Well, hey, do you want me to go over your head with this? Like, will you allow his friend to go in and take him to the bathroom?" I said, "Yeah, he has to really pee." And the guy's like, "You know what, man? I'm kind of done with his drunkenness." He goes, "There's a 7-Eleven up the thing." I said, "You won't let me just walk with him and take him to the bathroom?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm just kind of done with this guy." Like, he goes, "It's nice that you came and helped out your friend," but he goes, "We're not going to allow him back into the club." That is straight up what the bouncer said. And I said, "Okay, fair enough." I said, "Is there a bathroom around here?" He's like, "Well, all these businesses are closed and stuff." He goes, "The closest thing is a 7-Eleven up there. That's where we went." And I said, "Okay." So we leave, and on the way to the gas station and the way home, of course, when you're drunk, you're inebriated. Zach kept saying these 5 things. He kept going nuts about Xavier. I'm like, Xavier has nothing to fucking do with Kate. Then he's like, Kate hates me. The community hates me. That's 3. 4, I'm going to take down my channel. And then he's like, you guys are never going to forgive me. It was the same shit. And I kept re-saying the same stuff. Zach, nobody hates you. We're here because we care about you. Kate doesn't hate you. Kate's your friend. I don't know why he obsesses over her. Kate and me have been on the phone for the last 3 days. She openly admitted I've never once said I want to date Zach. I just want to be his friend. And he drives me nuts because he's like, I'm not obsessed with Kate. Yes, he is. The whole time he was begging Kate, fierce, call her, Kate. I'm like, I just want to get this guy home. He was driving me nuts. So that's one reason why I didn't want him to stay at my house. He was in full, there's a couple of types of drunk. There's silly drunk. Whenever I get drunk, I'm coherent, but I just laugh and tell jokes. There's an angry drunk, which is the worst drunk, where you're pissed off and you're punching people and you're mad. Then there's the drunk that can't help himself, and you have to babyfy him and you have to babysit him the whole time. Me, Dave, and Tina had to babysit Zach. He was falling over. He could barely walk. If you think I'm lying, ask Dave and Tina. I swear to God, he was fucking annihilated. I said there's no way that he can drive. He can barely walk. Me and Dave had to physically help him into my car. I had to buckle his belt buckle. All that crap. So I was like, I don't want to deal with this all night. And Zach didn't even ask me, hey, Fierce, can I stay the night? He just said, oh, Zach, I'm staying at your house. 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 I'm like, dude, I'm hungry. I'm tired. I have no obligations except for I want to get my friend home. I just want to go home and go to sleep. That's it. You know, so I get him all the way home. I get him all the way, I get him all the way back to my house. And I said from the very beginning, you guys heard me on the live, he's like, no, you're not taking me home. You're not taking me home. I'm like, Zach, I'm taking you home. And then I'm going to bed. So that was my plan from the very beginning. So we get back to my house. And the reason why we went back to my house first, because some people were confused. I said, hey, Dave. I said, I don't have Zach, mom, and dad's address. I said, we'll have to figure it out. And Dave's like, well, Tina has to pee. I said, well, I have to pee too. So I said, we'll stop at my house. We'll figure out a plan, and then we'll head out. We get to my house. We were there for, 5-6 minutes. Tina went to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom. Dave went to the bathroom. And then I sat Zach down on the couch. He lied. Other people were lying. He did not fall asleep. He was coherent. He was just sitting on the couch. There's no way. Whoever said, like, oh, Zach was almost asleep, you're full of crap. You weren't there. I was there. Were you there? No, you weren't there. Dave was there. Tina was there. He was drunk and inebriated, but he was awake. I just sat him down on the couch because when he came into my house, he almost fell down. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. So I said, Zach, I don't want you falling on your face. Just sit down for a minute while we figure out your address. So I went on his Facebook and I was trying to find his mom or his dad. I couldn't find his mom or his dad. I'm like, I'm sure he's got an address somewhere. I couldn't find anything. Finally, I said, hey, Zach, are you coherent enough to... He goes, I'll give you my address, Fierce. I'll give you my address. Zach wanted to go home. He kept saying it. Zach, you said it 3 or 4 times when you were drunk. I want to go home. I want to go home. I'll give you the address, Fierce. I said, great. So he gave the address, not even to me. He gave it to Dave. And the reason why I didn't drive Zach's car is I said, Zach, what if I get into an accident? Which I wouldn't have, but I said, Zach, I have insurance, but I said, I'm not comfortable with driving people's cars. So I said, Tina, would you mind? And Tina says, I don't mind. So, and Punk Rock was right about one thing. The reason why, there was 2 reasons why I drove. There was 2 reasons why I went in Dave's car. One, I had enough because Zach was just na 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 na. See how annoying that is? Na 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 na, all in my ear. And I'm like, Zach, I don't care about all this Kate, Xavier drama bullshit. I care about you as a human being. I just want to get you home so you can rest and sleep this off. That's what I care about, Zach. So, and so Punk Rock was right. I had had enough. And the second reason was I wasn't comfortable driving Zach's car. And the third reason was I wanted to make sure that he got home all right, because everyone's like, I don't understand why Fierce, why didn't Dave just take him home? And why did Fierce go? I went because I wanted to fulfill, my friendly duties. I'm like, well, I want to make sure he's okay. I want to go with Dave and Tina in case Dave and Tina need help. So we get there, and I said, Dave, where is it? He's like, oh, it's over there. She's already waiting. And so she was already, his mom was already pissed for a couple of reasons. One, he flat out lied to his mother and said, Mom, I'm not going to drink. I'm just going to go there for a little while. So that's lie number one. Number two, she would have found out anyway because A, Zach, I don't know why he told his parents about the challenge, but he did. Two, I guess his mother doesn't trust Zach too much because Zach's lied before. My parents never put a tracker on my car. Zach told me that, and Mrs. Arnold told me that. And I could tell that she wanted to have a conversation with Zach. And Zach just flat out just shut his mother down and said, Mom, I don't want to talk about this. I just want to eat, and I want to go right to bed. And she's like, well, we're going to talk. And before all that, I walked up and I said, oh, hello, Mrs. Arnold. And she's like, well, I didn't want to meet you, John, and Dave and Tina this way, but I've heard so much about you. Very nice to meet you. We all shook each other's hands. She gave everyone a hug, and we chatted for a little bit. And I said, I never wanted Zach to drink and all this other stuff. And she's like, yeah. She's like, well, sometimes Zach's very gullible. I said, well, yeah, that's part of the problem. People get him to do stuff, and he doesn't really want to do it. I said, I don't think Zach ever wanted to do this challenge in the first place. And I said, they tried to get me to do it. I said, I didn't mind doing the head shave. But I said, once they tried to get me to do all this gay stuff, I was like, look, I'm not doing challenge. I'm like, I'm done. And I said, I put an end to it, Mrs. Arnold. And I could tell that she wanted to have a conversation, which I thought it was weird because he said, well, no, I'm just going to eat, Mama. I'm going to go. We're not going to talk about this. And so me and Dave said, well, are we going to see you at the convention? He goes, probably not, John. And then his mom flat out said, well, Zach, you lied to me. You lied to me. That was her words. It wasn't mine. She goes, well, Zach, you lied to me. You said you were just going to go there. So she was already pissed because she caught Zach in a lie and said, well, you lied to me, Zach. You told me you were just going to go there and hang out for a bit. You told me you weren't going to drink. So, and I don't know if Zach said it. Dave, you can confirm this. Either she said, you may not get your keys back to your car. Either your mom said that, Zach, or Zach said, oh, well, she's probably going to take away my keys. Zach said it or his mom said it, and she shook her head. So that's her. I didn't have anything to do with this. He was so inebriated that whenever we left, I turned around and his mom was grabbing his arm and helping him into the door. He could barely walk. But then he gets on a panel and he sobers up real quick. I don't know if the food sobered him up real quick. And then he starts outing me. And I'm like, this is bullshit. And so that was another lie to his mom because she said, oh, yeah, like, there's going to be no panel. Like, we're going to bed. It's 3 a.m. And I was like, well, as you guys should. And I'm like, Zach, you need to talk about this to your folks and do whatever you guys need to do. And I said, Zach, let me and Dave know if you can go. And he's like, I probably can't go on Sunday, John. And then Dave's like, well, let us know, Zach. So, which I thought it was weird because as we're watching it, I saw her in the hallway, and you guys saw it on the live. So basically what happened is Zach just basically said to his mom, I'm not going to talk about this, when clearly his mother and his dad wanted to have a conversation about Zach's actions. And so he just went into his room, he flicks on the live, I see it, and she's standing in the doorway. And Kate and me were talking, and she said, I found that very weird that Zach turned the camera and she's standing in the doorway. She looked upset. I'm like, that's the reason why, Kate, because he said he totally shut down his mother and said, yo, I don't want to talk about this. We'll talk about it some other time. I just want to eat. I just want to go to bed. That's what he should have done. And then he gets on a live, and then she's standing in the doorway because she was like, well, we are going to talk about this. You know? And I'm just like, and then all hell broke loose. There's no reason for Yakov to get involved. There's no reason for punk rock. And Yak's like, well, you know, I got to say something, Fierce. I got to defend Zach. I'm like, no, you don't need to get involved. And then all this bullshit, like, Dave always defends Fears, and Dave's always in Fears' corner, and he'll give it to Zach, but Dave never calls out Zach, which is complete bullshit, because Dave called out Zach tonight and said, Zach, I don't like your actions, all this crap that you did. Tina called him out when Zach recorded me without my permission. You bet your ass Dave was not happy, and he called out Zach on that. Dave called out Zach when, I don't know where, Zach called me a woman abuser, even though I've never abused a woman ever. So I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, I helped my friend out, and then he throws me under the bus. And he's done that many times. And Boo even called him out. Boo said, Fears, like, it doesn't seem like Zach's a good friend. He throws you under the bus. He records you without your permission. He calls you a woman abuser. He goes, Fears, I know you're not a woman abuser. I'm like, I don't understand why he never does this shit, well, actually, he did do it to Mike. For 3 or 4 weeks, he was like, oh, Mike, you're terrible, you're horrible, you're this, you're that. All this crap. He's never thrown Dave under the bus. He's never attacked Dave. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's jealous of me. I have more I have more subs, or if he wants to get me thrown out of the community. He always does this crap. Throws me under the bus. He always says all this evil shit about me, and then he'll apologize later. And I'm like, Zach, I'm not having this. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm like, I'm not the one that made you drink. I'm not the one that has a tracker on your thing. I said, and so I called him out. I listened to it. We were almost home. When we did get home, I called Zach. I had a conversation. I said, Zach, I can't believe that you would go on there and say that I'm the one. He's like, well, Fears, he goes, you could have, had me stay. I said, Zach, it wouldn't have mattered. And he goes, well, tell me, Fears. I said, Zach, it wouldn't have mattered. I said, this would have happened either way. I said, your parents don't trust you. They have a tracker. I said, did I put a tracker on your phone? A tracker on your car? No. I said, am I the one that made you drink? No. I said, am I the one that told your parents about this challenge? No, you did all that. So I said, if you wouldn't have told your parents, you probably could have got away with it. I said, but Zach, it would have happened anyway. I said, I didn't know your folks had a tracker on your car until you told me and your mom told me. I said, Zach, it would have happened anyway. And Zach seems to forget this. I said, Zach, you would have been screwed if me, Tina, and Dave didn't show up. I said, because you would have drank, and then you would have been an idiot, and you would have tried to drive home, and then you would have either hurt yourself or wrecked your car or killed someone or killed yourself. So I said, Zach, you should be grateful that I came and Dave came, and I don't know who started the rumor. Fears only did this to be a hero. That's complete bullshit. That's bullshit. I did it because I care about Zach, and I don't want a human being to die. I don't want Zach to kill another human being. That's the reason why I did it. So whoever said, oh, he just wants to be a hero, that's bullshit. I don't care about being a hero. I care about doing the right thing and being a good friend. And I was like, Zach, I said, you either come clean, I said, or I'm going to out you to the entire community. I said, because you're not going to make me out to be a bad guy when I'm not a bad guy. I said, I did the right thing. I said, Zach, you don't have to stay at my house. I said, your parents are already going to find out. They're probably already pissed. I said, Zach, even if you would have stayed at my house, by the time you would have got home, they would have been like, yo, Zach, where the fuck have you been? So I'm like, it wouldn't have mattered. I said, plus, Zach, I said, when I had you stay at my house, you were homeless. You're not homeless anymore. You can go home. I'm taking you home. I'm not going to leave Zach on the side of the road, obviously. I'm going to make sure he gets home. Yak has nothing to do with it. Well, I got to be in, No. That's bullshit. So if Yak and all these other people think that Dave never outs out Zach, you're wrong. Mike outed out Zach tons of times. So it's ridiculous. And I'm like, Zach, you're not going to make me out to be the bad guy. I said, I legit was worried about you. I didn't want him to drink at all. I said, Zach, you pretty much ruined 8 years of sobriety over this stupid bullshit challenge crap. Anyway. So there's all that. So me and Zach had a I don't know if it was a good conversation, but it was a serious conversation. So I said, Zach, you let me and Dave know if you can go. But I said, Zach, I am not the one that got your RV. And I said, Zach, your parents are steamed. I said, I guarantee you, give them 3 or 4 weeks, you'll probably get the RV back. I said, they're not going to buy all that and then take it all away, and they don't want to ruin your dreams about vlog and all that. I said, Zach, I said, I was in the same boat. I said, that idiot Moody caused a whole bunch of shit. My dad was pissed off at me for weeks on end, said, you're not getting your laptop back, you're going to delete your channel. I said, guess what, Zach? Is my channel deleted? No, my channel's not fucking deleted. And I said, I had to put my foot down and said, Dad, there's no way you're deleting my channel. And he's like, watch me. I was like, you're not going to delete it. I said, and I had to put my foot down and be like, you're not deleting my channel. I said, over some stupid drama. He's like, well, then get rid of all the drama streams, which I did. And then he goes, well, you're not getting your laptop back for 6 months to a year. I said, that's insane. I said, I'm 30. I think I was 35, 36 at the time. I said, Dave, I said, I'll find it, Dad. I said, that's my laptop. I bought that with my own money. I saved up and I bought that. I said, it's not your laptop. I said, I could understand if you gave me that laptop. So I told Zach this. I said, Zach, it took me 4 or 5 hours of searching while my dad was at work, and I found it in my dad's office in a drawer, and he put some books on top of it like I wouldn't see it. I said, bam, I grabbed it, and I was open and honest. I said, Zach, I said, I told my mom, I said, Mom, I said, I just want to let you know I'm not lying. I said, I grabbed my laptop. I said, tell Dad he's not taking my laptop. I'm putting it back in my room. I said, I'm going to go to the gym. I said, I'm locking my door. I said, if he tries to grab my laptop, I said, we're going to have a serious conversation. I got home. I went upstairs. My laptop was still there. We had dinner as a family. My dad didn't mention it. Again. So, yeah, Zach, they're pissed probably right now. But, again, it will pass. And people in this community, like, what? Whoa, the RV's gone, the RV's gone. No, it's not going to be gone forever. They're just pissed right now. I guarantee it. Once they cool down, Zach will probably get his RV back. Because I was like, there's no way in hell that my dad's going to take away my laptop for a fucking year. So, people jump to so many conclusions in this community. And I'm just sick of it. And I told Zach, I said, I'm sick of you. I said, Zach, I don't know what it is. I said, you throw me under the bus. I said, you try to I said, you've never tried to restream anyone else's stream. I said, you call me all these names. You call me a woman abuser when I would never abuse a woman ever in my entire life, Zach. I said, you don't do this to Dave. I said, why do you do it to me? He didn't have an answer. And I said, you need to get your priorities straight, Zach. I said, you have no problem, it seems like lying to your friends, lying to your family, fucking over your family, fucking over friends. I'm like, it's ridiculous. I said, if you keep doing that, you won't have any friends at all. I said, Zach, I've been a loving and loyal friend to you. I said, I've never done the shit that you've done to me. And I said, if you keep doing it, I said, I'm not going to be your friend. And I said, so you have an option. Later on today, I said, you can say this was, you take responsibility for your actions. I said, or I'm going to out you on everything. So, and I decided to do this. I said, he probably will not take responsibility. I hope he does, because I'm not the one that forced him to drink. So, that's all I wanted to say. And again, Zach, when you watch this back, because I don't have the chat up right now, because I wanted to get everything out and be level-headed and get out my points before I read the community. Before I read the chat. Excuse me. I didn't do this to hurt you, Zach. I just don't want hell for the next 6 months by idiot trolls saying you're not a good friend for yours. When you guys know I am a good friend. I've been through thick and thin with Zach, Dave, Mike. None of my other friends has done it. Mike's never fucked me over. Visions has never fucked me over. Boo's never fucked me over. My buddy Eric and Trent and all those guys have never done the shit that Zach's done to me. And I'm like, I can't believe I've gave Zach so many chances. I said I've never re-record him or tell him that he's a woman abuser and all this crap. So I'm like, I shouldn't have to put up with all this bullshit. I'm like, all I wanted to do tonight was do my stream, watch Zach's stream, maybe join Lantern's panel, eat, watch that movie, and then go to bed. But then I was like, I have no problem picking Zach up, taking him back to his parents' house, make sure he gets to there. Like, Dave is not going to get home until Dave, like right before I started this live, Dave got home. So I said, you didn't get home until 6:31. I said, Dave, I said, it's not the first time this has happened. I said, you were sleeping in your bed when all that Bree bullshit happened and you had to get up. I said, so was I. I was sleeping. So I said, it's not the first time we've bailed Zach out. You know, I would hope I would never put myself in that situation. Like if I went to a club, I would just have 2 drinks because I am responsible, because Zach's kind of irresponsible. Zach, you should have never drank, or you should have just limited yourself to 1 or 2 drinks. If I know I have to drive, I would never drink and drive, ever. If I did go to that club with Zach, I would have been like, hey, Zach, somebody's got to drive home, or I am going to drive home. I'm not going to leave my car on the side of the road. I'm going to have 2 drinks, and then I'll just chill and hang out with the chat and hang out with you. Zach probably would have been fine with that. But I get it. He was getting donations, and then 1 drink led to another. We've all been there. So I understand how it happens, Zach. I've been drunk off my fucking ass before, but eventually you should have called it quits. But again, I personally don't think you should have ended your sobriety. You were 8 years clean and sober. That's an amazing achievement, Zach. You know, and you told me before when you were drinking, you said, Fears, like I am a terrible drunk back in the day. Like I got arrested and that battery charge, and I was like, well, then you probably should never drink ever again, Zach. And he's like, oh no, I'm not, Fears. He told me that when we first became friends and stuff. I was like, Zach, I've never been that way. The most annihilated I've ever been was on my 21st birthday, but my friends were like, oh, well, we got to get Fears drunk for his 21st birthday. But we did it safe. We were at my buddy Tom's house, and we just played cards and video games, and we got drunk in my buddy Tom's kitchen, and nobody went anywhere. All my friends, like Trent spent the night at Tommy's house. I did because I was wasted. Eric, our friend Brian, and we didn't go anywhere because they're like, oh, yeah, Fears is going to get drunk. We don't want him driving home or nothing bad. We'll just stay in Tom's house, you know? So anytime I've drank, it's been here. Like, and I don't drink a lot. I only drink on special occasions. The reason why I always drink here is, 1, I don't want to leave my car anywhere. 2, if I do want to get drunk, I don't want to put my friends in a situation where they have to come pick me up and babysit me. I'm like, no, I've got my own apartment. I'll just sit here and get drunk, you know, on my birthday or on Christmas or whatever. You do it responsibly, you know. So I'm just sick and tired of it, Zach. You have to treat your friends and your family, especially your friends. You know, your family's none of my business, but when you mistreat Mike or me, it hurts our feelings, and you make up all this crap about me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's trying to like I'm gonna be the master of the community. Like I'm gonna get everyone to hate Fears or kick him out of the community. What? I don't know why he keeps fucking me over. I've told Zach a million times, quit fucking throwing me under the bus. Quit doing this evil shit to me, or I'm not going to be your friend anymore. And he keeps saying, I won't, Fears. I'll never do it again. Well, you need to stop it, Zach. I'm fucking sick and tired of it. Because the minute I heard that stuff, I'm like, he is not going to make me out to be the bad guy when I was trying to help him out. And whoever it was, I don't know who it was, like, oh, Fears just doing this for fame. He's going to be a hero. I'm like, that is such full of crap and bullshit. I'm doing it because I don't want anyone to get killed. And I want Zach to be safe because I give a damn about his friendship and I give a damn about his life. I give a damn about any human life. I don't want anyone to die, especially not over some, drinking and driving where he could potentially hurt himself or hurt somebody else and wreck his car and wreck somebody else's car and cause a bunch of madness, you know? So I hope people listen and understand that I had nothing to do with this. That's the best I've got. That's everything that happened, you know? Even Kate admitted, oh yeah, Zach could have avoided all this. And if you think I'm lying, ask her. She chatted with me. She chatted with Tina. She chatted with Dave. She's like, Zach forgot his key. Who forgets their key? If you know that your parents, Zach's told me this before, he says his parents go to bed always around 9 or 10 at night because they're getting older. Should have brought your key. Then you wouldn't have had to call your mom. I could have dropped Zach off, Bam, he opens up the key. Bam, goes in. That's his own fault for fucking forgetting the key. Kate said that on the live. It's ridiculous. So he made a lot of mistakes. That's just one of the mistakes that I'm pointing out. So no one is going to put all this bullshit on me when I was just trying to help him out. And it's crazy. So there it is. So if anyone has any questions, let me know. But that's pretty much all I wanted to say. So I'll and I hope I don't get crap for the next 4 or 5 weeks, because all I wanted to do was help Zach. And I can't believe, apparently it was 3 or 4 people saying, oh, Fears just wants to be a hero. He wants to be Fears man, you know, and he wants to be the hero of the night. I'm like, that has nothing to do with it. That is a bunch of crap, whoever said that. I'm like, not the sharpest tools in the shed. I'm like, I want to help out a friend so he doesn't die. Excuse me for caring about my friend. You know, not like, oh, I want to be a hero. That has nothing to do with it. That has nothing to do with it at all. I just don't get it. I don't get it. People take this shit way too far. The challenges in the community, people take like we're the community. We're this serious community, and we have to ruin people's lives and all this stupid bullshit when it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I'm saying? It's just fucking ridiculous. I'm like, it's not a big community. It's just a bunch of hilarious people in a tiny little, community. It's not that big of a deal. And people make it out like, oh my God, I can't believe Fears did that. Did what? Help out a friend? It's ridiculous. Then they went nuts on Mike and all that Mike really ever did. And Zach admitted that he lied. Is Mike was trying to say, Zach, you actually did lie. And then things were blown out of proportion. And then, we're going to do a troll war. And we're going to do an unsub war, an unblocking war. And all that shit. We're going to do 9 or 10 roast streams on Mike. That's a bunch of crap. All that bullshit. People need to grow the fuck up. It's insane, And then I'm listening to them, and they're like, well, Fears, Fears kind of, half-assed it. I didn't half-ass jack fucking shit. Not at all. Again, even if he would have stayed at my house, and the thing is people make a lot of assumptions because they're not there. I know what the fuck happened because Dave was there. If any of you think I'm lying, ask Dave. You can talk to Kate, because Dave said everything that I'm saying to Kate when I called her. We were all in Dave's car on the way home. And she's like, oh, I'm not just talking to you, John. I said, no. I said, Tina's in the car, Dave's in the car, I'm in the car. She's like, well, Zach made a lot of mistakes. He could have avoided this. He did this. He made this mistake. I'm like, I agree. He did all that stuff. So anyway, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And again, I don't do this to hurt Zach. I literally said in the car before Dave left me and before I got home, I said, Zach, I said, your life is a mess right now. I said, you need to get your life in order. I said, it seems like you have no problem throwing your friends under the bus. I said, Dave would do anything to get you out of a jam. So would I. I said, so would Mike. I said, Zach, I said, I'm overwhelmed that you and Mike are back cool. I said, I'm overwhelmed that me and Mike, I said, I thought Mike would never talk to me ever again after yelling at him and all that. And I said, that's when I was a shitty friend. I shouldn't have yelled at my friends. And I said, Zach, I said, I don't want the vlog squad to break up again, far from it. But I said, you got to stop throwing me under the bus. I said, because these trolls, I said, they'll take one little thing, be like, well, I guess Fears is a piece of shit. I guess Fears doesn't really care about his friends. And I'm like, that's just simply not true. And then they'll make up a bunch of bullshit. Well, he kind of half-assed it. He just wants to do it because, he wants to be the fucking hero. And I'm like, fucking morons, fucking idiots. It has nothing to do with being a hero. It has nothing to do with that. I don't want Zach to hurt himself or anyone. And I just want to do the right thing and get him home. Again, because he's not homeless. So why would I have him stay at my house? He's got his own home. I'm taking him home to his home. I don't understand why people don't realize that. So yeah, it's insane. And again, even if I wouldn't have said shit to his parents, he set himself up for getting the key. Bam. He would have had to call his mom to eventually get home. You know? Telling his parents, I'm going to do this challenge. Lying to his parents, saying, I'm not going to drink. I'm just going to go there for, Dave, you can help me out. Because he was standing right there. He either told his mom he was going to go for an hour or two. I don't remember the exact thing he said to his mom. And her mom, his mom said, oh, well, then you lied, Zach. You said that you were only going to be there for a little while, and you promised me you weren't going to drink. I guess that went out the fucking, door. So I didn't tell him to drink. I didn't tell him to lie to his folks. I wasn't in his folks' house saying, oh, please take away his RV, please. I didn't do any of that crap. So I'm like, there's no way in God's green earth that I would ever say, oh yeah, it was me. Like I had this master plan for Zach for them to take away his RV. That's complete horseshit. So yeah. All I wanted to do was just, I had no idea that Dave and Tina were coming up. I even told Dave and Tina, I said, Dave, I'm almost there. I said, you picked up Zach the last time. Don't worry about it. I said, it's my turn to be a good friend. I said, I'll drive him home, And he's like, well, Fears, we're already here. I said, okay. I said, well, then just make sure he doesn't leave. I said, I've been watching the live. And Dave asked me, I remember Dave said, have you watched all of it? I said, no. I said, I took a shower. And I said, the only thing I ate before I took off, I had some celery. I was kind of editing and listening, and I had a bowl of celery, and I was just eating. So I had a tiny snack, but I'm starving because I haven't had anything to eat. Like a meal. Like that celery was out the fucking door hours ago. So I had to leave, though, quickly. I was in my comfy clothes. I had a Star Wars t-shirt on. I thought, well, I can't come to the bar in a Star Wars t-shirt and my gym shorts because that's what I usually wear whenever I'm just laying around the house. I'll just pull out one of my nerd shirts. You guys have seen it, my workout, shorts. I had to quickly get a shower. I quickly got a shower, and because I hadn't even taken a shower. I was like, oh, I'll take a shower later, like before Lanterns Live. I had to quickly take a shower. I'm not going to go there and not take a shower. Took a shower, threw on this real quick, and hell, as a joke, I didn't even have to go into the gay bar. I went into the gay bar. I was like, well, I might as well I said, maybe I'll smooth things over while I'm here with punk rock. And I was like, all right. I said, hey, I'll go in. I went in there. I saw a lot of cock and balls, which I didn't want to see with these eyes. Some guy was on the fucking stage, rocking out with his fucking cock out. I'm like, I don't want to see that bullshit. He had a black thong on. I was like, bah, ew, nasty, gross. I'm surprised his wiener wasn't all flopping around. It was going up and down, but the thong was so tiny. I was like, this is madness. Madness. Anyway, so that's all that happened. So I hope the community will not think ill of me, and I hope the community will listen, and I hope the community will have an open mind and an open ear, because the last thing I want in the world is to not be friends with Zach and break up the vlog squad. But he's got to stop throwing me under the bus, and he's got to stop doing these horrible things to me, because I would never call Zach a woman abuser. I would never restream Zach stuff. I would never record him without his permission. If I really wanted to fuck over Zach, I could have ended his live, and I didn't. I asked Zach a few times, like, Zach, do you want to keep it going, or do you want to end it? I'm like, you're pretty sloshed out of your mind. No, I want to keep it going, Fears. And he kept it going. And the only reason why it cut out, I made sure that I tried to call Boo, he didn't pick up. I tried to call Pixel, he didn't pick up. Zach's battery, I guess Zach didn't look at it. I wasn't looking at it. I was focused on the road. I guess he was down to 3 or 4%, and it crapped out. So I was like, oh shit. I'm like, people are going to think that I turned it off, which I didn't. And so finally I called Carrie, because Carrie wrote me a message like, hey, we're concerned. What happened? And I was like, oh, this is what happened. I said, Carrie, do me a favor. I've tried to call, I tried to call Boo. I tried to call Pixel. I tried to call Kate. I said, no one's picking up. I said, quickly go into, I'm like, I'm not on those Discords, Carrie. I'm like, quickly go into Mike's or Zach's or Visions or wherever you guys hang out in those discords and tell everybody. I said, or go into Yaks and tell everybody that his phone died. And she's like, oh, I will. She's like, we were just worried, Fears. She's like, so you guys are okay? I said, yeah, we're all right. I said, we're almost home. I said, it is just his phone crapped out. And I said, he left his phone charger in his car. I said, Tina's right behind us. I said, Dave and Dave's in his car and Tina's driving. Zach, and she goes, all right. She goes, and then Carrie said, all right, Fears, yeah, I'll go and tell everybody. Everyone's like, oh, okay, cool, Fears. So thank God no one thought that I turned off his live because it was far from it. And then, so everything was fine. I was just a tad miffed that he went in there because he sobered up quite quick. So I was like, I hope that all that drunkenness was not an act. Because he was, the way he acted at the club, the way he acted in my car to my house, and the way he acted on the way to his house, he was annihilated. Me and Tina and Dave had to help him into my car when we left the club. Me, Dave, and Tina had to help him into his car before Tina turned on the ignition. He could barely walk. And then his mom helped him in. So I was like, there's no way. Because he looked pretty sober when he was on the live. And I said, Dave, I said, do you think some of it was an act? He goes, no, Fear. He goes, I think he was really that annihilated. I said, well, I know he was annihilated, but I said, how did he get sober so quick? He's like, well, Fears, think about it. He goes, he's had only a little water, because I gave Tina a water bottle. I said, Tina, I said, on the way to Zach's parents' house, I said, make Zach drink all this water, or at least some of it, to get him hydrated. I said, water and coffee help you sober up. So I think the water helped. And then Dave's like, well, Fears, all he's had is that little bit of water and shitloads of booze. So he said, I bet you that food helped him sober up. And I was like, true, I said, because he looks quite coherent. He can talk. He could barely talk, in the car and at the club. He was muttering the same 5 phrases and mumbling shit. And then all of a sudden, he's perfectly fine on the live. And I'm like, so was it an act? Was he just joking? Was he not as drunk? And Dave's like, oh, Fierce, he was probably that drunk, but the food probably sobered him up real quick. Then when I called Zach, he's like, I sober up pretty quick, Fierce, within an hour or two. I said, okay. I said, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't all an act, Zach. I was like, and even Kate said, some people were saying that in the Discord, John, like, was Zach acting a little bit? I said, well, I don't think he acted the whole thing. I said, I'm like, clearly he was fucking wasted. But I said, he sobered up quite quick. And so she's like, oh, I think he was that annihilated. I said, okay. I said, I just want to make sure. She's like, I think Dave's right. Kate said that. She goes, I think Dave's right. I think the water you gave him helped, and then the food. I went, okay, well, I'm like, that was quick, like sobering up. And I was like, all right, I just want to, anyway. So, that's all I wanted to say. Let's see, how long did that take me to get through? Let's see here. Let's see. How long did that take me to get through all of that? Let's see here. That took me about an hour to get through. So, yeah. So, I hope I didn't, take too long, because I thought, well, since I'm doing a live, I might as well do some other topics, too. So, I hope everybody understands now. I never, told his parents. So, I hope no one will blame me for getting his RV taken on. I think once his parents calm down, I guarantee it, they'll probably, because my dad, whenever it happened to me, and again, my parents are like Zach's. If you live under their house, it's their rules. So I'm sure Zach probably won't get his car keys back for a while. I hope you do, Zach. But my dad was adamant, you're not getting your laptop back for 6 months to a year. And in my mind, I'm like, that's not fucking happening. I'm 35, almost 40 years old. It either happened when I was 34, 35-ish, somewhere in there. I can't remember. I found it the very next day. And I was like, Mom, tell Dad I'm a full-grown man. If he wants to talk about it, but I'm putting my laptop back in my room. I'm going to the gym. Peace. I'm like, he's not grabbing my laptop again when I saved up my money. It's my fucking laptop. I'm like, I know it's your house and your rules, but I'm like, that's a bit over dramatic. Even my mom thought that was over dramatic. And she's like, well, you know how your dad is. I'm like, I know how he is. But I'm like, that's like me going into his office and stealing his laptop. I'm like, dad would be like, yeah, you're not touching my laptop. Well, guess what? You're not touching my laptop. So it's the same situation at Zach's house. They're pissed about the whole situation. Again, it never would have happened if Zach wouldn't have made a lot of mistakes, and if the challenge era would have never started to begin with. So there you are. So it was a lot of mistakes on a lot of people's part. But I never did anything to Zach or his family, and I wish Zach would stop doing this evil shit to me. So I literally, when I was on the phone with him, I said, I'm going to go to bed, Zach, but I said, you really need to get your life in order because your life's in chaos. And I said, if you keep fucking your friends over like this, you're not going to have any friends left, and you're going to keep pissing off your family. Because clearly they don't trust Zach if he has a tracker on his car. So, again, I did this to clarify everything because I have no reason to lie, and I don't want people giving me shit when I did all the right things and I was a good friend. I didn't do this to hurt Zach, so I hope nobody thinks oh, Fears only did this to hurt Zach. Not true, because I just don't want to hear people's bullshit saying, well, Fears is the one that caused all this. That's not true at all. So there we are. All right, I'm done. Now I'm going to open up the chat. I bet the chat is flowing. But I appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys listening. I was trying to get through it as quickly as I possibly could. I'm sure the chat is going nuts right now. But here, let me close all these windows and open up the chat again. Oh, okay. So the chat's not that bad. Okay, I thought the chat would be flowing, but all right. It is early in the morning. I'm still glad that 11 people are watching. So anyway, all right. Let me start over from the top of the chat. Let's see here. Let me catch up. So I appreciate everybody listening. I appreciate everybody having an open mind and an open ear, because I don't want any more drama. There's way too much drama in this community. I think I handled this quite well. I got a little excited, but is Fears pissed? No, you guys know when Fears is pissed. So I'm not pissed. I'm frustrated a bit, and I'm a little tired, and I'm a little hungry because I'm going to eat something after I get done with this live because I haven't had dinner. So yeah. Yo, what's up, Lantern? Howdy, Fierce. Well, howdy, Lantern. Yo, what's up, Dave? Howdy, Dave. About to go unconscious. I hear you, Dave. Monster. Oh, I thought you said Monster Jaws effect. But Java effect. I hear you. I will do a crown check in just a minute, Lantern. Well, howdy, Visions. All right now, Visions. All right now, Lantern. Zach said he called her at some stop. There you go. There's another reason. But again, she would have found out because, again, he forgot the key. Even Kate called him out on that. So, yeah. Well, howdy, Hendrix. Oh, Zach's here. Okay, well, Zach, I'm sure you wrote this ages ago, but Zach, I hope you took this the right way. Zach, I had no idea you were here because I opened up the chat, I said hello, I talked to Lantern, and then I closed the chat to get through my whole spiel. Zach, I had no idea you were here the whole time. I'm sorry, John. Well, I appreciate the apology. Apology accepted, Zach. I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean to throw you under the bus. I won't try to get a hold of it until you're ready to talk. Well, I'm ready to talk. Zach, we talked, when I got out of the car. There's no reason for us to fight. There's no reason for us to talk. I said my piece, but you really need to stop throwing your friends under the bus, and you really need to stop treating your friend like crap when I want nothing but the best for you, Zach. I want the RV to happen, Zach. I want you to succeed. Zach, if you got 100,000 followers tomorrow, me and Dave would be the first people, and Mike, and Tina, we would all be the first few people to be like, yeah, fucking Zach got 100,000. I guarantee it, Dave and Mike and you, if I made 100,000, Zach, you'd be like, yo, Fierce, you did it. You're like 100,000, you know? I'm cheering you on, Zach, but you gotta stop doing this evil shit to me because I've done nothing that warrants you calling me a woman abuser and trying to steal my content by restreaming and recording me without my permission and all this bullshit. So yeah. So I'm cool with you, Zach, but I was like, I'm definitely gonna call you out on a few things because you've called me out before. I think Yak is totally wrong when Dave has totally called you out. So is Mike. So he was, of course, Yak. I'm gonna do my rehash. Fears is lying. I'm not lying. He can do all the recaps and all the rehash bullshit that he wants. But I know. But does he live near us, Zach? No, he lives all the way in Canada. And I'm not trying to piss off Yak. He wasn't here. Dave literally calls out Zach. Mike calls him out. I call him out. Dave calls me out. I yelled at Dave a little bit around Spooky Empire. Dave got pissed and totally called me out. Dave is for sure called me out. Mike is for sure called me out. Zach is for sure. So Zach's not the only one that gets it because I heard Yakov say, well, sometimes I got to be in Zach's corner. No, you don't, because Dave will call out anyone. And I'm like, that's just simply not true. You know, I'm like, Dave calls me out. If Mike's never done anything bad to Dave, but I'm sure if Mike did something bad to Dave, I'm sure Dave would call him out. You know, I'm just more open and honest and more blunt about it. Dave's more quiet about it when he calls people out, but he absolutely calls people out. So, yeah. So, we're all good, Zach. I just want this madness and this drama to stop. There's no competition, Zach. I wish you the best of luck. You wish me the best of luck. Just stop doing evil shit to me, and we don't even have to have a talk. We'll be fine. Tonight was a horrible decision. I agree. Well, to be honest, to be fair, Zach, it wouldn't have been a horrible decision. Everybody was enjoying the content. I was enjoying the content. When it became a horrible decision is when you drank too much. And then stupid idiots in the chat saying, I'm going to donate $50. You should totally drive drunk. I saw it a few times, Zach. Those people are fucking idiots. What? So they want Zach to get hurt? That's fucking stupid. You know? Like, but I appreciate, like, Museum. Dave told me. Dave, how much did he donate? I think like $200 I saw once. Or $100, something. I was like, damn. I'm like, fucking Museum. Rolling in the fucking Benjamins. I'm like, way to go, Zach. I was stoked for you, Zach. I'm still stoked that you made all that money. I was the first one to say, Zach, I'm glad you're having a good time. Fuck yeah, you're getting all these donations. I'm so glad you're having fun, Zach. You know? And even Visions called me out. He's like, Fears, it's kind of gay that you didn't go. I'm like, no, it's not gay that I didn't go. I'm like, just, it's not my thing. I'm like, I'm not gay. I have nothing against gay people. I just didn't want to go, you know? But I'll be honest, when I was there, I thought, oh, well, I'll just go in. It actually wasn't that bad when I walked in. The only thing I didn't like was the guy dancing on the stage, and I looked over. I was like, his wiener is almost out. That's gross. And there was a lot of cock and balls. But then the rest, like, on this side, there was nothing wrong. There was, like, a normal bar, and there was tables, and so I think it's like a half a dance club, half a club. On this side, it looked like a normal bar. I was like, oh, yeah, there's a bar. There's people sitting at a table. And I was even chatting with the gay guys outside, you know? And so I was chatting with them. I was even chatting with the drag queen. Because it's not a she. The guy came up and said, hey, get home safe. So even the drag queen was concerned about Dave. Concerned about Zach. So, Zach, no one was hating you. And the drag queen was like, hey, like, do you want me to go inside and get him some water? I was like, that actually would be great. Like, yeah. Because by that time, Dave said, oh, yeah, John, they're like, he's annihilated. Like, they're sick of Zach's crap. Like, they don't want to deal with his drunkenness. I said, Dave, they won't allow him back in the club. They're like, oh, no. Dave told me that when I got there. And then I thought, well, surely they'll let him go to the bathroom. That's why I asked the bouncer guy, like, hey, like, he's not going to disturb anyone. I'm just helping my friend walk. He's about ready to piss his pants. Like, I'll walk with him. Can I go to the bathroom? They're like, no, sorry. Like, he's way too drunk. I said, yeah. I said, but I'm with him. I'm like, I'll make sure. I'll take care of him. I'm like, I'm just going to get him to the bathroom. let him do his thing, let him take a piss, and then we're out of here. He goes, you can come in, man, because you haven't had a drink, but sorry, your friend can't come in. He goes, no disrespect to you, no disrespect to your friend. He can sit outside and sober up, but we can't let him back inside. I said, all right, fair enough. I said, is there anywhere that he can take a piss? And they're like, there's a 7-Eleven about a mile down the road to the left. I was like, oh, I know where that 7-Eleven is. I said, I passed it on the way to the club. I said, I know exactly where you guys are talking about. I'm like, yeah, I'll just take him there, no worries. So, yeah. And I told Dave that, so yeah. Tonight was a horrible decision. Again, Zach, it wasn't a horrible decision. If you would have just had like 2 drinks, got tons of donations, just kind of hung out. Someone said you should go dance. I don't think that was a horrible quest. You know, just dance and then boom, you're out of there, you know. So it wasn't as bad. I went in. I was like, all right. The only thing I don't like, because, again, I'm not gay. I was like, I didn't really like seeing a guy. The guy's thong was like that thin. And I was like, Jesus. I'm like, I can see everything. Just about. I was like, ugh. That's why when I grabbed Zach's phone, I said, oh, I'll go in. I said, I'll just do it as a joke. I said, well, I might as well get it over with. I said, I'm already here. Might as well go in. I went in as a joke. The fans were eating it up. They were like, oh, yeah, Fierce, go in there. Go in there. I'm like, okay, I will. Because, again, that was another way of me showing that I have nothing against gay people and I'm not scared. Because Larry's like, oh, Fierce is scared. He won't go in there. I'm like, I'm not scared. I'm like, it's a building. I'll go in there. The reason why I didn't go is I just don't feel like going. I have no reason to go. But I'm like, well, since I'm here, I might as well get it over with. Yeah, I'll go in and I'll prove Larry wrong. So I went in there. I was like, right on. It's just I'm like, there's a bar. And I looked over because it was kind of hard not to notice. You walk in. As you walk through the door. On the left-hand side, there was like a dance floor. And then there was like a black like mini stage. There was a guy on there like going nuts. The G string was going. I was like, oh, God, here we go. And then you look off to the right, and there was a bar. And then there was a door where that person was doing that comedy sketch stuff. So it was, I guess, half a bar, half a comedy club, and half a dance club. Because when you looked over to the right, there was a few tables and chairs with candles where people could just sit and have a drink. The bar was over here, and then there was a door on this side where you walked through the door, and you cut to the left, and that's where the comedy club was. Off to the left was the dance hall where the guy was going nuts. And his G-string was that thin. I'm like, I can see pretty much everything. This is gross. But I'm like, oh, well, Fears. I'm like, you're here for Zach. Just get in. Like, prove Larry wrong that I'm not afraid of, like, gay people because I'm not. I went, I looked around for, 2 or 3 minutes. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm in here. 3 minutes should be enough to satisfy the fans. I was like, peace, and I walked out. And I even told Punk Rock, right? Punk Rock was all like, well, Fears, there was a poll. And again, in my mind, I'm like, I don't care if they say you didn't complete the challenge because Fears doesn't do challenges. So, and I've made it quite clear. So then I was like, yeah. What'd the poll say, Punk Rock? He's like, well, they said Zach achieved the challenge. I'm like, great, that's awesome. I'm like, thank God. I'm like, the fucking challenge thing is fucking over with. I'm like, great, awesome, rad, And then they're like, well, they said that you didn't achieve it, and you guys heard what I said. I'm like, well, that's fine. I'm like, I don't care. Punk Rock, I'm like, I'll talk to Crackpot. I'll try to smooth things over. I'm like, if Crackpot doesn't want to smooth over and he continues to harass me and say, Fears, you cheated me, then I'll keep him blocked. If Punk Rock keeps it up, I'll keep him blocked because I don't want to fight with anyone. I would much rather solve things with Punk Rock and Crackpot and have them unblocked and just do my shows and focus on my shows than to have them constantly harass me. But if they constantly harass me, then I'm just going to keep them blocked. And there's nothing I can do because he fully knew. I said it for 10 days. Well, all right, the head shave's done. Sorry, I'm a little sweaty because I need to take a shower. I did take a shower, but it was hot outside and all that, so I'm going to take another shower. He knew after 10 days, he had to have, Crackpot. The one day I don't put it in the description, he's like, oh, Fears accidentally forgot. I'll fuck him over. I'll set him up. Bam. So, and then, of course, Punk Rock jumped on the bandwagon. I'm like, here we go. So, I can't control what people think. But I've told you guys the honest to God truth. I'm not lying about anything. That's exactly how everything went down. So, yeah. Anyway, all right, let's continue on. Howdy, Zach. Incredible. Everything's incredible. What's up, Lantern? I gave that goddamn horse to, let's see. Fears does it full. Oh, Lord, Visions. He says, Fears does it full last. That's actually pretty hilarious, Vision, because I know you're joking around, but when I said I do it fully, people were trying to say, oh, Fears does it half-ass. You know, like his friendship, and I was like, no. So that was funny wordplay, because I was like, I didn't half-ass anything. And he's like, well, Vision's like, yeah, Fears does it full ass. You're fucking hilarious, Visions. You're hilarious. There's some of that goth humor, Visions. All right. Let's see. So, well, thanks for that super chat donation, Lantern. 9 million. Whoa! Museum donated 50 smacks for a new challenge request. Well, I appreciate the donation, Museum, but you know for a fact I'm not going to do any challenges. But wow, real quick, hang on. What's 50 New Zealand dollars? Hang on. In American money, hang on. Wow. Thanks, buddy. I guess I waited too long. I see, if you wait too long on a donation, it'll allow you to heart it and it'll allow you to like it. But it sucks if you wait too long. You can't comment back on it. Thanks, Museum. That's very nice of you. I guess Museum thought, well, Fears has been through hell. I'll give him $50. That's very nice, Museum. You've been very generous. How much did you donate to Zach? I saw, I think, 2 of your donations. One was 100, and then Dave, I didn't see the other one. Dave said, oh, Museum donated $200 more. I was like, what? So now he's donated 300? I'm like, holy shit. I was like, damn, Dave. So I didn't see all the donations. I saw some of them. But Museum, how much did you donate to Zach? And how much did Zach make total? Well, thank you for the 50. That's very nice. So hang on real quick. Hey, Meta. One of my friends, while I was doing a live stream, he's from New Zealand, and he super chatted me 50 New Zealand dollars. In American money, how much is that?
Let me convert that for you real quick. 50 New Zealand dollars is about $29.30 in US money right now.
Nice! So really $29. So $29?
Yeah, that's right. Around $29 is the ballpark.
Well, hell yeah!
Keep in mind the exact amount can wiggle a little depending on the exact rate and any fees the platform takes out.
Oh, yeah, because YouTube takes 30%. So after they take 30%...
Yeah, exactly. YouTube takes about 30% off the top before it hits you.
So when they take 30% off, how much would I get?
If you got about $29.30 and YouTube takes 30%, you'd end up with roughly $20.50.
All right, so $20.50. Well, thanks, Museum, for $20.50. I appreciate that. That's very nice of you. That's very generous of you. Thank you very much. Again, I don't do challenges, but I appreciate you supporting my channel, Museum. So anyway, $50 to make Chad see a Chinese person. Pfft, yeah. Mom said that it was Zach was not going to get his keys back. Yeah, Tina, I remember his mom saying that. Good morning. What's up, Cave? Everyone, hope you all had a wonderful rest. I'm going to, once I get this done. Yeah, I think the community was just hoping that a trusted friend would watch over him. Well, we did. That's what I'm saying. We watched over him because someone, I don't know who, but someone said, I don't know why Fears had to even go to Zach's house to watch over him. I wanted to follow through and make sure that Zach got home because then people would have gave me hell. You know the trolls. I'm damned if I am, I'm damned if I'm not. If I wouldn't have went, they'd have been like, oh yeah, Fears is a shitty friend. He didn't go with Zach and Tina and you know, make sure he got home all right. And then I do that to make sure he gets home all right, and I still get shit. So it's like you can't win with these people sometimes. But we watched over him a lot, Cave. Zach said many times that I'm all right, I'm going to drive. I'm like, Zach, and you guys heard me. I had to put on my big boy voice. I'm sure somebody heard it on the live. I was like, Zach, you're not driving. I swear to God, I'm not kidding. I'm like, you're not driving home. I am fierce. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm like, Zach, don't even go there. I'm like, you're annihilated. You're not driving home, period. And I had to put Fears' big boy voice on. You guys heard me. I said it a couple times when me and Zach were sitting out in front of the bar, and then he dropped his vape, and that was another time. He's like, Fears, can you grab my vape? I was like, yeah, sure. I went around, grabbed his vape. He's like, well, I'm gonna drive home. Thanks, Fears. I was like, Zach. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, you're annihilated. I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're saying. I'm not kidding, Zach. You're not driving home. So, yeah. So, I promise you, Cave, we watched over him for hours. Or, well, not hours, but a couple of hours. So, yeah. Hello, dearest Tina. Incredible stream. I had to go to the bathroom there. My face turned... Well, I missed that, Tina, but Dave said you went in there, and, yeah, Tina turned bright red. I'm not going to sleep because my heart is beating out of control. Well, mine was too, Zach, because I'm like, I don't want people to get the wrong idea about me and say that I'm a terrible friend when I'm not, Zach. So, if Kate never speaks to me again, then I'll understand. I really went overboard. Yeah, a little bit, but again, Zach... I've said it before. The community said it before. Mike said it before. Dave said it before. Kate has not once ever said, I want to go out with Zach. I want to date Zach. She's told you many times, Zach, I just think of you as a friend. And I've told you that, Zach. There is no competition. When you were drunk, you said, oh, Fears is so jealous. The reason why me and Kate have been talking is because Kate's my friend. I haven't voice chatted with her, Zach, in quite a while. You told me you voice chat with her all the time. I was like, man, I haven't voice chatted with Kate in quite a while, and I've caught up with her for the last 2 days. I'm allowed to do that. She's my friend. She's your friend. But I don't think she has any interest in dating you, Zach. And then girls don't like when a guy constantly says her name over and over. You were begging me tonight. I need you to call Kate. I even tried. I tried to call her twice, Zach, on the way, to the gas station because my internet was so shitty. Finally, I got Zach on the live. He could barely even talk to Punk Rock. I think he answered one of Punk Rock's questions. And I said, Zach, she didn't pick up. And he was like, nothing will make this better, Fears, until, I hear her voice. I'm like, Zach, I'm like, you're begging me and you're begging Kate to talk to you. I'm like, girls don't like any of that stuff. I'm like, it makes you look pathetic and it makes you look weak. I said, girls like strong, confident guys. I said, have I ever begged Kate? No. I said, Zach, the only time I say Kate's name is if I'm making a point about something or if she comes in and she's like, she'll either say, hey, Fears, or hey, handsome, or whatever. And I flirt with her. I'm like, yo, what's up, beautiful? Or if she asks me a question in a live. But I'm like, it's not just me that says this, Zach. I doubt Kate will ever date you because she just probably wants to be your friend. I've told you that many times. Just be her friend. If you do get together, that's awesome. I said, Zach, it's a win-win for me. I said, either I'll get with Kate, which I highly doubt that'll happen because I live in Florida. She lives in California. But I said if it ever did, that would be great. Who wouldn't want to get with Kate? She's beautiful. She's talented. She's smart. She's a wonderful girl. She's very kind. She's sweet. She's sexy. She's in shape. She's got a great job. I can go on and on and on and on. I won't. But those are some examples. So I said, who wouldn't want to get with her, Zach? I understand why you like her so much. I think she's wonderful. I think she's great. I'd love to date her. But I said, even if I didn't date her, I'd still win, Zach, because I'd rather have her as a friend than nothing at all. And I said, I've told you that, Zach, many times. If you get with her, that's great. That's icing on top of the cake. If you don't get with her, you still win, Zach, because you get to be Kate's friend for the rest of your life. But it's pathetic when you're like, oh, Kate, a million times. I've said this before, and I say it not to hurt your feelings, Zach. I say it because the whole community knows that you're obsessed. Dave said it. Mike said it. I've said it. Hell, Tina's even said it. I'm not kidding. And I say it because I'm like, well, I don't want anyone to make fun of Zach. Why? Because Zach's my friend. I don't want anyone making fun of me. I hate getting trolled. I don't want anyone making fun of Mike. I hated that people were trolling Mike when all that bullshit went down. Hated it. I hate drama. Whoever said Fears loves drama is so fucking wrong beyond belief. You know? All these gray hairs up here are because of Larry, Quentin, Moody, Yak long ago, but not anymore. You know, if no one would troll anyone, then the world would be a whole hell of a lot better. I'm just saying. And Zach, you're being over dramatic. I'm sure Kate will talk to you again. She's not going to magically, I'm not talking to Zach. Of course she'll talk to you again. The community's very forgiving, Zach. This too shall pass. And probably some people in the community don't care, Zach. Anyway. I care because I don't want anyone to ruin my reputation, and I care about you as a friend, Zach, and I don't want to get trolled for the rest of my natural-born fucking life. Thanks for the gold, Zach. I appreciate that. Thanks for the... What is it? The hiding for 10 jewels. Zach says no more challenges. Well, holly fucking Luya. I've been saying that for, what, a month or two? I think punk rock needs to chill on the fucking challenges. Crackpot needs to chill with the challenges. Zach, I know you're over it. I'm fucking over it. I swear on my life, on my father's grave, I said, Mike, are you over this bullshit? Yep. I asked Dave, and Dave's like, Fears, I'm with you. I've been fucking over it. I'm like, I'm glad we all agree. Everyone's fucking over the whole challenge era. It's dumb. Or I think it's dumb. Like, oh, I'm going to give you $3. You need to, eat 5 peppers. Why? Why do I need to eat 5 peppers? It's so dumb. Like, oh, you need to go to a gay bar. $900. Or whatever the hell he donated. So fucking stupid. So fucking stupid. So, the only challenge I didn't mind ever doing was the Richie one, because it was such a great idea. I said, Richie, if you don't do it, I'm doing it. That's the only one I didn't mind doing. The head shave, I eventually didn't mind doing, because I'm like, well, at least I'll do it to honor my dad, you know? And I'm so glad my brother didn't die. They caught his cancer in time. It sucks that he doesn't have a stomach anymore, but at least he's alive, so I get to keep my brother, and Shelton has a dad, because I wouldn't want Shelton to grow up without a dad. That would suck. You know, my dad did a great job raising me and my brother, and my dad was a great dad. I want my brother to be a great dad to Shelton, because that's what Shelton deserves, you know? So, yeah, so I hope no more challenges, Zach. Thanks for the high five, Zach. I appreciate it. Mama Bear says, hi, Visions. 50 smackaroos. Don't say no challenges in the description. Oh, it does. It does. Oh, wait, does it? Oh, I probably forgot again. Fuck. Hang on, does it? Let me have a look. Oh, shit, I forgot to put it in there. Well, the reason why I probably forgot to put it in there, Museum, is because I wanted to do this real quick. I'll add it in there. So I apologize for not putting it in there because I'm a little tired, but I will put it in there right now. So I always write, or usually I always write, donations are accepted to support my channel and support my live, but no challenges. So give me 1 second. I forgot to put it in there. Well, if I could fucking type, hang on. All right, well, now it's in there. My bad. But it's usually in there. So there it is. I'm just tired beyond belief. But I do appreciate the, what was it, converted? $20.50, plus all the donations that Zach gave me. You didn't have to donate again, Zach, but that's very nice of you, and I greatly appreciate all the donations. And I never take a donation for granted. I don't care if it's a if it's 5 cents or a super chat for $20 or every sticker donation. I make it. I'm always good at thanking every single person every single time, whether it's a sticker or a super chat donation. So thank you to all of those. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm sorry about forgetting to put it in the description, but just cut Fear some slack because I'm fucking tired beyond belief. All right, let's continue on. Every single person, every single time, whether it's a sticker. Oh, shit. God, I'm fucking tired. Holy shit. All right, let's see. Where did I leave off? Let's see here. 50 big ones. Well, technically it was, what, Visions? 20, you know, with all the... Sucks that they take 30%, but yeah. Well, I wouldn't, Museum, don't regret donating to Zach. I think it was very nice. How much did you donate? I meant, if Dave's still watching. Zach, tell me, how much did he donate? Because I only saw 2 donations. I saw one, I don't know, whatever it was, 130 New Zealand, and then I went, oh shit, $200. So I know you did $200 for sure, but how much, Museum, if you don't mind me asking it? Or Zach, you can tell me. So yeah. Why is that, Museum? 29 big ones. Oh yeah, Visions. Or 20 big ones, I should say. Oh damn! Wow, Museum did another one. I appreciate it. Thank you. It's only seeing one Chinese person. Pfft. Wow, thanks for the $69.69. But let's convert it. Hang on. Thank you, Museum. Wow, damn, Museum is being so fucking generous. Thank you. Oh, damn. Record that one, Twin Lantern. Damn. Let's see here. Hey, Meta, I've got another question. I'm still doing my live stream. My New Zealand friend donated $69.69. After you convert it into American money and then YouTube takes 30%, how much will I get?
Doing the math on that donation for you.
Thank you.
Based on current rates, 69.69 New Zealand dollars is about 52 US dollars. Take 30% off for YouTube, and you're left with roughly $36.40 in your pocket.
$36.40. Hell yeah, Museum. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's see. Zach says, to be honest, all I really remember is going into the club, ordering a couple of drinks, and arriving home. Zach, Dave counted. You did 2 Jell-O shots, and then 11 normal drinks, and then Dave told me, he goes, well, Fears, some of those normal drinks were, like normal alcohol drinks, were double shots. And I said, oh, shit, really, Dave? I said, because I was watching that. He goes, oh, but Fears. He goes, I watched the whole thing. He goes, some of them were double, like, it was a big glass, and Dave's like, if you fill it up to here, you know, that's one drink. He goes, but it was a big drink, so they were double shots. And I was like, so what do you mean? He goes, well, if you count all those double shots, Fears, and all those drinks, and all those Jell-O shots, which was 2, he goes, Zach had the equivalent to around 16 to 17 drinks. And I was like, holy fuck, that's a lot. I'm like, god damn, that's a lot. So yeah. But yeah, I agree, Visions. The first part of the stream was fantastic. I was cheering you on, Zach. But I agree with Visions. Visions says, Zach, the stream rocked until you started crying about Kate at the end. Yeah, because I'm telling you, Visions, I wish you could have been a fly on the wall. Well, you guys saw it a little bit before Zach's phone lost battery. The whole ride, I was trying to ask Zach, hey, Zach, tell me the highlights. And he's like, Kate, I love Kate. Fuck Xavier. And I was like, Zach, Xavier has nothing to fucking do with it. I'm like, he's just some random airhead idiot that tried to go out with Kate. And then Kate realized how much of a psycho that guy was, and she's like, I'm going to cancel the date. The fucking moron came to Kate's house, and Kate told me, Fears, in Hollywood, that's not the first time that's happened to me. I've used the dating app, and many guys have came to my house and haven't taken the fucking hint when I'm like, you know what, I'm not feeling it, I'm going to cancel the date. And I was like, really, Kate? She goes, oh, yeah, it's happened a few times. I'm like, well, then they're airheads, Kate. I'm like, if someone canceled a date, I would get the hint. Oh, she canceled the date. Well, I guess she's not into me. All right, boom. It's time to move on to the next person. So there you are. So I agree, Visions. The whole stream was rocking. I was cheering Zach on. I was like, Zach, just gay clubs are not my thing. But I wrote it a few times. I'm like, Zach, I'm so glad you're having fun. I'm like, I'm glad the fucking donations are rocking. And the only donations I didn't like was when some troll was like, yeah, I'm gonna donate $30. Yeah, Zach, drive home drunk. Yeah. So I'm like, what? So you want him to kill himself? You want him to hurt himself? You're a fucking idiot. So yeah. But I agree, Visions. The rest of the live was stupendous until the whole Kate and Zach thing. Mama Bear says, yes, I agree. Approximately $500 US. Oh, nice. Okay, well, there you go. There you go. Zach was borderline alcohol poison. Pretty much. I mean, me and Dave had to help him so much. I've never seen someone that drunk in quite a long time. The last time I saw someone annihilated like that was probably in college, because I went to a bunch of college parties, and people would get fucking sloshed out of their goddamn minds. Excuse me, I don't mean to take the Lord's name in vain, but Zach, I don't think even, I've gotten wasted, but you took it to a whole other level. I don't think I've ever been that fucking drunk. I've been drunk, and I've been wasted, but not that wasted. I mean, damn, that was nuts. But, whew, holy crap. All right. So, I've pretty much discussed all the serious stuff. So, yeah. So, I appreciate all the donations, Museum. I appreciate you guys listening with an open ear. Zach, I'm glad there's going to be no hard feelings between us, because I don't want to fight, Zach. Just work on being a better friend, Zach. Please. And stop doing this evil shit to me, saying I'm a woman abuser, and stop recording me without my permission and all this other crazy crap. And let's just get along with the vlog squad and make epic content and leave all the drama bullshit to the side, Zach. You know what I'm saying? I would appreciate it. Again, Zach, thanks for all the sticker donations, and big shout out to Museum, big fucking spender. Damn, he donated $500 US to Zach, and then let's see what, $20.50. So I pretty much made $50 because the first one was $20.50 when you convert it. The second one was, what did Meta say? $30? Hang on. Based on current rates, 69.9 is $50 US. Take 30%, and roughly you get 30. So 36 and 20. So around $50. $50 and some change, you know. So hell yeah. So thanks, Museum, for the $50 and some change. I really appreciate it. Damn. Moolah. Museum must make some really mucho dinero, because he donated $500 to Zach, and I got $50. Hell yeah. Might have a big headache from the hangover. Oh, I know he will, Dave. I know he will. Because I've had some hangovers that last hours. I've had some hangovers last a fucking day. So, yeah. We've all been there. I don't drink a lot anymore. Visions, you told me you don't drink a lot anymore because you waste a lot of money. And really, the only time I drink now is on my birthday. I don't mind having a couple of drinks, hanging out with the fans. And on Christmas Eve, I'll have some wine. And then Christmas Day, I'll have a couple of drinks. And that's about it. You know? And if I go on a date. Like when I went on that date with that crazy Claire girl, we had like 2 drinks. Because I told her, well, I could only have 2 drinks because I'm driving you home. Because she left her car in the back parking lot. So I said, we have to drink responsibly. And she's like, oh, yeah, I understand. So, yeah. So, there it is. I just hope people don't turn all this into a big kerfuffle, because I promise you guys, I told Zach apologized to me. I accepted his apology, but I was never trying to fuck him over and get his RV taken away. His parents will give him the RV back. But Zach made a lot of mistakes tonight. I'm just saying. But I do agree with Visions. Zach, if you would have just had a couple of drinks, or not drank at all, if you would have, Zach, they still would have donated even if you just sipped on water the whole night. Because I'm serious, Zach. I could tell you were having fun. When you were just having a couple of drinks and you weren't drunk, I agree with Visions. The fucking live was going nuts and ballistic in a good way. It was fucking fantastic. And that's no bullshit. That's no lie. It was fucking fantastic, Zach. But it just got a little carried away. And I get it. All right. So anyway, I'm going to do one topic, and then I think I'm going to call her because I want to get out of this. I want to take a shower, and I'm fucking starving. I need to make some food. I'm going to eat, and Visions, I'll probably watch this later on in the afternoon, but as soon as I eat, I'm going to watch one episode of Steve Austin while I eat, and then I'm fucking going to bed because I'm fucking tired. All right. And I think between today and tomorrow, I think we'll finish D-Man's podcast book, so hell yeah. And I appreciate all the loving and loyal fans hanging with Fears and that. And I'm going to call Zach and thank him for all the donations. Hell yeah. And big shout out to Museum for giving me $50. I appreciate it, my friend. And I'm going to say, Zach, we're square, water under the bridge. Yo, buddy.
What's up?
We're square. Water under the bridge. I just no more fucking me over and call me no more throw me under the bus and all that stuff. And I appreciate the apology. We don't have to talk. We're all good. I explained everything to the community, and I think the community understands because I remembered everything. So did Dave. So did Tina. You didn't remember nothing because you were annihilated.
I was, and I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Did the water help and the food? Is that why you sobered up like super quick?
Yeah. Are you still alive?
I'm still alive. Yeah. I'm gonna do one more topic, and so everyone can hear you, and then I'm gonna because I didn't eat. The only thing I ate, Zach, was when your live started, and because I thought Lantern was gonna do a dual stream, like. Because I was like, oh, it's 9:30, almost 10. I'm like, oh, like Lantern won't care tonight because everybody knows you're doing this, this gay bar challenge. I'm like, Lantern will probably just start. I'm like, he listens to music for 2.5 hours anyway. I'm like, whatever. And then I didn't see it start. I was like, oh, he's probably waiting until Zach's over with because you didn't expect to stay there till close.
No.
And I was like, oh, Lantern will wait, and Zach will be there for probably 2-3 hours max, and that'll be it. And then when you kept going on and on and on and on and on, I was like, oh, well, Lantern and Yakov are probably having fun watching Zach do his thing. And then eventually they started. Eventually when we started to take you back to my house, that's when Lantern started. And I was like, all right. So, yeah. So we're all good, dude. Yeah. Just, I don't want any more drama, and just quit throwing me under the bus and quit all this evil shit, man. Like, call me a woman abuser and...
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
It's all right, man. Just, I've never fucked you over, Zach,
I know you haven't.
Yeah, and I'm just getting sick of it. I've been nothing but a good friend. If I didn't care, Zach, if I didn't care, a bad friend would have been like, oh, yeah, screw Zach. I'm not going to come pick him up. Then I could see people giving me shit, like, oh, Fears doesn't care. He didn't even bother to meet up with Dave. And I even said, you would have been screwed if me or Dave or Tina didn't come up. You would have either had to get an Uber, or if you tried to drive your car, you would have failed, Zach, because you were fucking obliterated.
Also, people were saying in the chat that trolls were ready to call the cops on me if I started driving.
There you go. I saw someone donate. Yeah, Zach, drive drunk, $30 or whatever the hell it was. And I'm like, so this guy's an idiot, and he wants Zach to drive drunk and hurt himself. And then you just said they were waiting for it. Oh yeah, as soon as he starts driving, we're gonna call the police. So they were fucking idiots, Zach. Like, oh yeah, we can't wait. Please drive home drunk, Zach, so we can get Zach in trouble and call the police. That's fucking dumb. That's so fucking stupid. That's the most stupidest crap I've ever heard of in my life.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm glad.
I'm gonna take a break from streaming for a while.
Yeah, and no matter what punk rock says, and I'm not putting words in your mouth. You told me before you got drunk, you're like, Fears, this is it. I'm fucking done with the challenge. I was like, good. Hallelujah. I'm like, don't let anyone tell you how to run your channel. If you don't want to do a challenge, don't do a challenge.
Yeah.
That's why I told Punk Rock, dude, as soon as this head shave's done, I don't care what you crackpot, what anyone says, I will never do a challenge ever. Ever again. Ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. And you were even telling me a few days ago you were stressed out about all the drama in the Discord. I'm like, take a break, dude. Take a break from the Discord. Yeah. You know? I said, do whatever it takes to protect your peace.
Oh, yeah.
And I guarantee you, Zach, your parents will give you that RV back. I guarantee you. Because my dad was so pissed. He was at me. He goes, you're not fucking getting this laptop back. I swear to holy God, like for at least 6 months to a year. And I was like, you can't do that, Dad. He's like, the hell I can't, John. And he goes, you're living under my house. I'm like, yeah, but Dad, I'm like, I raised the money. It's my laptop. He was like, I don't give a goddamn. And he was pissed.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, Dad, I could understand, like, if you bought me that laptop. I said, Dad, that's like me going into your office saying, oh, I don't care about my dad. I'm just going to, steal his laptop off his office desk. And he wouldn't listen, Zach. I was like, I raised that. I said, Dad, I raised $1,000 and I bought, or however much it was around $1,000 to buy that laptop. I'm like, that's my laptop. And as soon as he went to work the next day, it took me a day to find it.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it took me, not a whole day. It took me a couple hours. My dad went to work. I went to work. I came home because I worked at Walmart. And so I said, Mom, I'm not even going to lie to you, Mom. I said, when you go to the grocery store, I'm going to start looking for my laptop. She's like, I wouldn't, John. I said, I am. I said, because it's my property. She's like, all right. She's like, well, your dad's going to be mad. I said, no, he won't. I said, I'll talk to him. I said, I'm a man. I said, I'll stand up for myself. I said, it's my fucking laptop. She went to the grocery store. I found it within an hour or two, Zach. And then she came home. I said, Mom, I'm putting my laptop back in my room. I'm going to the gym. I said, if Dad tries to grab it, I'll find it again. And I said, I don't want to talk about it anymore because he's being over dramatic. I went to the gym. I came back. We had dinner. He never once fucking brought it up ever again.
Oh, wow.
Because he knew I was right. He's like, yeah, John's right. After my dad calmed down, he's like, well, yeah, it is John's laptop. Bam, there you go.
Yeah.
But when you live with your parents, you have to follow their rules. I didn't break any of my mom or dad's rules. So yeah, if your mom takes away your keys, try to talk to your mom and your dad. I hope you can come Sunday. If you can't, me and Dave and Tina understand.
Yeah, I know.
I want you to come, but don't break any of your mom's fucking rules, because if you do, then you'll just piss off your mom and dad even more. And then, it's not a big deal. You can take me and Dave out to lunch, and we can go to another. Jeff does 1,000 cons, every single year, so it's not a big deal if you can't go Sunday. And once they chill in about a month or two, or before you leave, Zach, I guarantee you they'll give you that RV back. Guaranteed.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I just didn't like you saying, "Oh, fears is the way it the reason why it caused it." I was like, "Nope." I'm like, not true. Anyway, I'll let you sleep, buddy, because I'm gonna end my life because I'm fucking starving.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, I'm not hungry. I'm just getting tired.
How's your head? Is it a headache, or are you good?
No, I'm good. I don't even have a hangover or anything.
Do you have a headache?
No.
Damn, Zach, because anytime I've ever drank and I've gotten I've never gotten obliterated like you, but I've gotten pretty wasted. I've always had a headache, and I've had to take some Tylenol, and I've always had a hangover. So that's good that you
never had a hangover in my life, believe it or not.
Yeah. Well, good for you. I've had a bunch, so I understand. But Dave said at least Zach doesn't live in the basement. Exactly. Like the trolls. I've said for years, the trolls live in the basement behind the keyboards. Yeah, I can say whatever the fuck I want because, I'll never meet fears in real life because if they ever did meet me in real life, God have mercy on their fucking souls.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Well, I'm glad you got home safe. I'm glad nothing bad happened. Just listen to your mom and dad for a couple of weeks. It'll blow over. Just let everybody know in the community that you didn't mean it, and I'll still have you on my panel on Sunday,
All right.
whether you come or not. Like I told Dave, I said since Mike can't come because he's busy, I said me and Dave and Tina, and I hope James comes with us. I forgot to ask Dave if he's. I'm gonna ask Dave if James is coming with us because I want James to come. He likes not all those conventions, but some of them. And me and Dave are going to go get something to eat regardless because sometimes Jeff has food at the conventions and sometimes he doesn't.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
So if he does have, I'm like, Dave, let's just eat here. If he doesn't have anything, I'm like, yo, Dave, as soon as the convention is over, boom, let's go get something to eat. And then I'm like, Dave, let me know when you get home. I'll set up the panel because I haven't done a panel in forever. And people are like, Fears, we love your panels. I'm like, so do I. But I'm like, I'm so busy and stuff. I try to get my shows in, and then Zach's doing a panel. I'm like, I need to find an equal balance of editing vlogs, my own streams, and then panel streams.
Oh, yeah.
I'm only one guy. I try to get as much in as I possibly can.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, yeah, it's water under the bridge, and we don't even have to talk about it. But, yeah, I would seriously just be Kate's friend.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, and just stop over excessing about her and overthinking it, and because you were begging me, and I was just like, oh Lord, this is nuts. Anyway, we're all good, buddy. We're all good.
All right, John. I'll see you later, man.
Get some sleep.
Oh, my mom he's alive right now.
Get some sleep.
John, I just wanted to thank you and Dave and Tina for taking care of Zach last night.
Oh, no problem. It was a pleasure, Judith, and
pleasure. Now, come on now.
Pleasure? It was a pleasure because I don't mind. I would have done that for any friend of mine. Like some of the trolls were like, "Oh, Fears just did that to be a hero." I'm like, it has nothing to do with being a hero. I didn't want anyone to die. I wanted everyone to be safe. So it was a pleasure helping out a friend because I know Zach and Dave and Mike would have done the same thing for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I appreciate you doing that. Thank you so much.
No problem whatsoever.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
I'll talk to you later, bro.
All right, get some sleep, buddy. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
Yeah, see? Judith is super sweet. She's super nice. Hell yeah. All right. I'm going to do Jeff's cons. Here we go. So this is what to expect on Sunday. Hell yeah. I have not been to a Jeff con in, oh, lordy. I think the last time was April, I think. Cause, yeah, I went to Jeff's con, and then a few days later, I went to Star Wars Day. It was like the end of April. Went to a con, I believe, and then Star Wars Day was in May. So that's the last time I went to a con. It's been quite a while. I've been super busy. So Jeff's Star Wars con, this is what to expect. Jeff's got a new venue because he always does it usually at the Veterans Center because Jeff has a lot of veterans friends. Dave's been there before. I've been there before. Since Dave's a veteran, Dave's been to that building just to hang out with the veterans when there's not a con going on there. That place is usually very small. But Jeff's got a new venue at the Hilton Hotel where that was the last time I went, where it was inside that hotel, and I put it in the vlog and all that. So, Hilton Hotel. Jeff is ecstatic. He goes, Fears, I fucking missed the hell out of you, buddy. He goes, I thought I did something wrong. I'm like, Jeff, we're always going to be friends. I'm like, you didn't do a damn thing, Jeff. I've just been busy with work. trying to find a better job, trying to catch up on the vlogs. I said, I'm only one guy. And Jeff's like, oh, thank God, Fears. Like, I thought you were, like, mad at me. I was like, no. I'm like, why the hell would I be mad at you, Jeff? I'm like, he's like, well, that's good, Fears. And he goes, I've been watching your vlogs and your streams. He goes, I know you've been going through a lot of shit. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, so you should know. I'm like, he's like, well, I just wanted to make sure that you weren't mad. I was like, nah, I'm not mad at you, Jeff. I said, why would I? He's like, I'm glad. He goes, Fears. He goes, you got to come to the Star Wars. He goes, you bought that fucking hat from the Star. I said, no, I can't wait, buddy. And he goes, Fears. He goes, new venue, better vendors, not better vendors, more vendors. And I was like, where is it? I said, I thought you do it at the Veterans Center. And he goes, well, yeah. He goes, we do. And he goes, but this time, he goes, I wanted to do a bigger venue. And I was like, well, where is it? He goes, remember the last one you were at, that big ass Hilton hotel? I was like, damn. I'm like, getting big with it. And he's like, well, yeah. He goes, I'm trying to expand all the cons. And I'm like, fuck yeah, Jeff. Hell yeah. So, more vendors. Hell yeah. And he told me more vendors, bigger venues, not just for the Star Wars con, for every single con. I was like, oh, so not just this one? He goes, yeah. He goes, every single convention from now until forever, bigger venues, Fears, more products, more merch, more vendors. He goes, I've met some more people. He goes, better contacts, better venues. I'm like, hell fucking yeah, Jeff. So, more merch. Give me a second. My lips are chapped. There we are. Hilton Hotel. More vendors, more merch. This one does have a restaurant in it, so either me and Dave will eat there, or Dave will go to that pizza place after. Hell yeah. Because once we leave, me and Dave can hop on over to that pizza place. So, Dave, we should hit up the pizza place, man. So, it's a hotel / banquet center. They have, I think, Dave, they have 2 pools, right? So 2 pools, a workout facility, and the restaurant. And it's not a massive convention hall, but a pretty big one. Bigger and better, according to Jeff. And I'm ecstatic. So, look forward to, for Sunday, definitely going to walk around the convention center, do a live. So, look forward to that. Definitely looking for the deals. Jeff even said, hey, Fears, guess what? And he goes, you're going to love it. I said, well, I love your cons anyway. And he said, yeah, but Fears. He goes, you know how you always say you're the deal master? I was like, well, yeah, that's a given. And he goes, Fears, a lot more vendors, a lot more opportunities to get those deals. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. I can't wait, buddy. So more deals. Oh, yeah. More everything. Oh, yeah. I'm going to give all these new improvements, I'm going to give a solid 9.8 out of 10. So 9.8 out of 10. All new and improvements. Very excited. So look forward for me and Dave. We may even do a pizza review if we go to that place. Because Dave, I don't really want to eat in the convention center. Because I got a soda there. They didn't have much to eat in that little. It's not even a massive restaurant. It's like a quick grab snack type of place. I'm like, Dave, we should hit up that New York pizza place that you were talking about. We totally got to go there, you know? And Dave said we're going to be right by Barnes & Noble. And I was like, ooh, lunch, nip on over to Barnes & Noble. Shh. Like 3 or 4, Blu-rays, and then hightail it out of there. Because Dave said we're right around Atomic Horror, too. And I was like, I'm putting Atomic Horror on the back burner. But we should go to Barnes & Noble because I'll never say no to more Blu-rays. So there we are. All right. Bam. That's right, Dave. Deals, deals, deals. Yeah, deals are good. Deals are fantastic. All right. Whew. I'm out of here. It was a good stream. I'm glad people weren't like pissed off at me beyond belief, or I hope not, because I had no reason to lie. I said everything I said was the absolute 1,000% truth. I know Larry's gonna constantly give me shit. I hope Punk Rock will not give me shit, and if Crackpot continues, then I'm gonna keep them both blocked, and it just is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah. But most people in the community know that I'm a good guy. And I had a lot of people thank me for taking Zach home. Visions thanked me. Walter thanked me. Kate thanked me. I think Lark did, and a bunch of people in the chat were thanking me. And even people were like, "Fear saves the day." And that I even said it before. I was like, it has nothing to do with me saving the day or being a hero. I'm like, I want to do it because I care about Zach. No one wants to see Zach get harmed or dead or kill somebody or hit somebody in a car or damage his car or any of that crap, let alone one of his friends. Exactly. So I'm glad I could help out. All right, I'm deucing out. So I hope you guys enjoyed the live. Everybody gets some rest. Yak's going live probably like 10:30 tonight. I'll try to do a live before Yaks, but I'm pretty tired. So I'm literally going to get out of this, take a shower because I'm starting to sweat a little bit, get out, get some comfy clothes on, make some type of quick meal, a sandwich. I'll make a salad or heat up a microwave dinner, something, because I'm fucking starving beyond belief. And then I'll see you guys later on tonight around 5:30, 6 o'clock, you know, like when I usually do my lives. Because I always try to get it in right before Yaks. So, and then going nuts on the convention on Sunday. And I cannot wait to hang out with all my convention buddies. Because a lot of the same people go to Jeff's cons. And I know Dave hasn't went to a con in a while. I know for sure Tina hasn't went. I hope Zach's mom will let him go. If he doesn't, then I understand, and that would suck. But me and Dave both looked at Mrs. Arnold and said, we understand. She's like, there's going to be some changes. I have to talk to Zach. Zach's dad has to talk to him. And I was like, that's none of my business. You guys do your thing. I hope it all works out. Yeah. All right, I'm taking off. But big shout out to Zach for all the donations, and big shout out to Museum. Damn, Museum, big spender today. She's very nice. She's very nice, Museum. She's a very nice lady. Judith, I don't have anything bad to say about Judith. She's very sweet. She's very nice. She's very nice. Mrs. Arnold is very nice. Big spender, Museum. Thanks a lot for donating $500 to Zach. Museum donated pretty much, if you add up the two donations, it's around $50 and some change. So, thanks, buddy. All right. A shower awaits, food awaits, sleep awaits. Anyway, I'm going to skedaddle. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Zach, the Incredible Impression. Give him a like, give him a follow, give him a sub. Follow Hollywood Toys, the only place to live the movies. Follow Museum. Follow my buddy and your buddy, Visions, Lord Visions. Buy some cool merch, because Visions always be working on that cool merch. www.exhumevisions.com. Hell yeah, buddy. Visions, I can't wait for some new stuff. You know, Norm Macdonald shirt, fucking great. Can't wait to buy some more stuff around my birthday. Oh yeah. Follow Mama Bear 06. We got to get her to 500 subs. Dave, Strong Bear 19. We got to get him to 500 subs. Fangirl Kate. Lark. Triple Nickel Pickle Wickle Sickle Tickle Dickle. Follow Yakov Petrovich Sr. Follow Yakov Petrovich Jr. Follow Randall. Lord Randall, Cameo Man 2021, the second channel, The Mayor of Magic. Don't follow Larry Tate. And last but certainly not least, follow this handsome devil, Fears. Lord Fears. Fears Man 26, that's the main channel. Follow my second channel at Fears Vlogs. And Fears loves you guys. And Fears always cares about you guys, especially my friends in real life. But I always love the loving and loyal fans. And this is Fears, signing off. Peace. Deuces. I pray to God the challenge error is done. And no more fucking drama. Please, oh holy fucking God, please. And I'm deucing out. I'll see you guys later. Peace!